Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo están? ¡Woohoo! Qué gusto saludarlos el día
See
de
you
hoy
here
en
in
este
this
sexto
day, in the
día
sixth
del NAU
day of the
Fest, en
NAU
nuestro
Fest,
main day,
in our
el día
main day.
principal
This
de
is the
este
main
increíble
day of
festival.
this
Estoy
amazing
sumamente
festival. I'm really excited. I am inspired to see you there. And above all, that today we're going to have a lot more knowledge, more personal people, a lot of inspirations from leaders that today we're going to be able to listen. My name is Ileana Jimenez. Thank you for sharing with us and also for the opportunity to meeting you. And in some minutes, we're going to have the opportunity to know from which country you come from, to tell us about your experiences throughout these days. And if this is your first day, we want to welcome you. Thanks a lot for joining us on this event from JJ Americas, and thanks to all the youth from the Americas. Let's see this chat. How are you? How are you, my boys and my girls? Hello, let's wake up. Let's open our eyes. How are you this day? Hello, Edwin, Eduardo Martinez. How are you? Who else do we have here? Hello from Salvador, Enrique. Thank you. Then you have Diver Lasso. I am also from Salvador. Do you have anyone from Argentina, Mexico? Okay. Hello, Joanna. Maybe we can turn up the volume. Okay, now Miguelito. Thanks to all of you. Can you tell us from which country are you joining us? And if this is your first time or if you have been with us during this last 4 days, um, let us know. Hello. Hello, Priscilla. How are you? Hello, El Salvador is very much present. Where is Mexico? Where is Argentina? Peru? Where's Canada? Remember that we are thousands of youngsters met today. I would like to tell you something. If you have some friends or partners and you think that they could be interested in this, write to them very fast. What we are about to live today is a very special day. Today, you're going to change your life perspective about businesses. I can assure you that you will never forget about this day. And I would like to see you throughout the years to share our stories, to share your stories and how J Americas impacted in your personality. Argentina present there. Yes. Hello. Hello from Argentina, Ariadne, Janelli, Chris. Wow. Thanks a lot for being here. Thumbs up. I love it. How has been your activity throughout the social media? We would like to thank you. You can use the hashtag NowFest and you can add JA Americas. My name is Iliana Jimenez. You can find me as Ili Jimenez. And remember that everything that you're looking at, or you feel some feelings, you want to take a selfie or a screenshot, any idea, remember that this is a space, a safe space in which you can share. And I don't want to keep on talking with you without letting you know something very important. Remember that any question, any doubt is very valuable because it can change your life. There are no silly questions. There are no stupid questions. All the questions, all the doubts are welcomed here from now on until the rest of your life. Because from there, you can have new ideas, new inspirations, new challenges, and you can keep on evolving. And remember that you're here to be an evidence. You're here to invest your time for yourself, to change your life course and from the people around you so that you can share this spirit, so that you can get employment, so that you can make uh, some hair, feet, a heart to your dreams, to your projects. And I also want you to remember that there are many people watching. So maybe you are in the J Americans board, maybe we can be later your sponsors. You can watch or you can get inspired to be part of these companies. So remember, all the questions are very welcome. We're very glad to see you share, to see you making friends. All this networking has been amazing internationally, because remember, we are thousands and thousands that we have from Canada to Argentina, going to the Caribbean islands, and all the parts of our continent. So thank you. And before we meet our sponsors today, I would like to come back to the chat and to see who is here for the first time. Please, could you put my chat? I would like to speak a little bit with the kids here. I want to see who is here for the first time. Margarita from Salvador. Let's see a bit more. Um, and so he's emotion. Okay, Brazil is also here. Mexico, good. Amazing, great experience from the first day, says Naomi from Salvador. Yes, well, Argentina. Thank you. Thank to all of you. And well, now I would like to speak to you about what junior achievement is. If you have any doubt of this is your first time with us, it's one of the organizations, one of the biggest organizations towards inspiring and preparing youngsters to be successful in global economy through movement programs, education, job preparedness. Junior achievement engages young people for the job future. We are in 25 countries in our regions, and more than 1,000 young people are take advantage of this. This is one of the most important organizations in the world, as I said. And now I want you to open your eyes, because I want you to listen clearly, because this year we have been nominated in the history uh, to be the first Nobel Prize. It's such a pride. What a story. I'm so excited. So thanks to all of you. And we have also renewed our visual identity, and the JJ board has met with you. It is very important to listen to you. What are your questions? How would you like to see JJ? How you wanted to connect? Is it the music? Is it some topics? Everything we took it into account to renew our image. And now I would like you to see the new result of the new image.
Mucho más moderno, más
A lot
interactivo,
of modern, more
como ahora todo es tan
interactive.
rápido, tan
Everything moves so fast.
pones la
Well,
idea, haces
you
la
put the
acción y
idea,
¡pum!
you create the
Resultado.
action, and well, you
Y
have a
bueno,
result. And well, so thanks to all of you for participating in this new image that you're
¿de qué se
knowing
trata?
now.
¿Quiénes somos?
What is it
JJ
about? Who
Americas.
are we?
Bueno,
The
antes
JJ
de
Americas.
continuar con
And
la
before
noticia
we
del
move
día,
on, we would like to give you a
quiero
last
agradecer
minute news to transmit to
afortunadamente
you. Unfortunately, we're not going to have the participation of WOST
a
in
sus fans
today's
y
day.
chicas
To
muy
the
quinceañeras.
fans,
Esperemos
please, girls and
tenerles
boys,
novedades muy
we
pronto.
would like to give
Bueno,
you more
vamos a
news about
mostrarles
this. But
ahora
well,
un poco más
and now
de
we're
este
going to show you a little bit
Algunos
more
estiman que
about this
el día de
event.
hoy, gracias
There
a
are
nuestra
some of
organización
you who are joining us today, just today.
celebramos ya
And we have been here for 5 days in these journeys. We're talking about resilience, we're talking about entrepreneurship, sustainability, and employability. So the Now Fest is 2022. We're going to see it now. It's been amazing, everything that is going on and everything that we're going about to be living today now Fest. Thanks a lot for today's day. Your life is changing and it's going to change a lot more. We would like to thank to everyone who is making this event possible and the mission of Junior Achievement to move towards all the region. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the sponsors that are the ones that make reality all these events. Thanks for trusting us. And thanks also for pushing the new talents. This is the Now Fest. Please use hashtag Now Fest and share everything that you like. If you have met new friends, what has been going on during these 5 days? This is the sixth. But if it is your first day, remember that you're very important. Your voice, everything you share makes an impact on everybody around. So it also depends on how you behave every day and what you adopt, what you learn from this Now Fest, and you're going to apply in your following days. So if you have dreams, goals, maybe you can be the person that can tell them, hey, come here to Junior Americans. Here you will be able to learn. Or like this guy from Salvador, Canada, Argentina, from the Caribbean islands. How did they do it? And it is because they saw your story, because it can be motivated and come close. So it is an amazing thing that you can make an impact, like you had an impact through the stories that we are about to know. So remember the hashtag NowFest, and you can add JJ Americans. So to start this main day in NowFest, we're going to Argentina, where we have our Fest ambassador. He's a very well-known TV presenter in the regions. He's also a model, he's an actor, and he's an Argentinian citizen. And we're going to move there with Ivan de Pineda, who is going to be with the president with Junior Americas, Leo Martelotto. Welcome.
Gracias, Ileana, y qué honor estar hoy conectado con miles de jóvenes de toda la región esta NAU Fest de Junior.
Thank you, Ileana. What an honor to be connected with a full, with millions of youngers who want to read in the chat to know where you're from, how do you feel, and about this day, because we're going to inspire all together. My name is Ivan de Pineda. I'm going to be with you this historical moment in this fifth day of sure that you're waiting to listen big celebrities like Mohammed Union, Mandela. We want to talk about more about this Now Fest. its origins, and why it is important for junior achievements. It is with me, Leo Martelotto is with me. Welcome, Leo, to this historical meeting. Historical for the region. Thank you for being here, Ivan. You're our celebrity ambassador. I've been with Junior Achievements for a long time. Tell us something about what we are. We are in a company. Its name is Wellbund. Thank you for Gabi Alasin that receives us, one of the major figures. Global is the reflection of this entrepreneur spirit that global achievement, junior achievements try to implement in the youngers. Because once they want to get together and had a dream and started to famous companies created in a garage that we heard a lot of times. Nowadays, this company has it's a unicorn company, more than 25,000 employees, and with a base of youngers, very, very important because the youngers have the spirit. So we said, where can we record? Let's go to a company that reflects this spirit and connected with revolution technology. You're very passionate for this because you've had the chance to be in both ways, in both positions, because you were an achiever. What did it mean to you? What was your first contact with junior achievement? I always say that my job is easy when you can connect the passion and your goal. It may happen to you as well, constantly passionate, very passionate. Everything has a coherence, a sense. When I was 17, there were more doubts than certainties. So, what I'm going to do in your 70s, what wanted you to do in your 70 years old? You're connected with problems concerning your social group because of your age and the world that you develop. The interesting thing is that my 17 years old, I did know what I want to do. I wanted to find this company because that's why I'm an achiever. The first time I put this project to a service, things that I didn't know that I have to offer. Maybe you thought of being lawyer, astronaut, maybe. At the age of 6, I was given for my birthday a book of astronaut. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. In my adolescence, when I was a teenager, there was a lot of confusion in my life. Well, this happens to all of us when we go in life, that we have doubts, that we're not sure what we're doing, that maybe we have, I don't know if we're scared, but it is hard to get displayed or make this dream factible and tangible and true. Maybe at this age I had these dreams, but was the distance so long between me and my dream was so long that it was in contrast with my self-esteem. And I said, oh, I would love to be an entrepreneur. I would love to be there. When I came to Junior Achievement and they opened the door at the age of 18, I was invited. It was a call to the action when we're able to carry on the project and create value where, although there was not before, it was a bath of self-esteem and honestly, me and my friends who were just partying at the age of 17, 18, like everybody, now were able to create a project and the shareholders believed in us and said, you think that the youngest only party, we have reached 800%. That's what junior achievement
¿Y por qué
it
los jóvenes?
is
Porque lógicamente estamos hablando de un Junior
to
Achievement
get the.
centenario. Por eso te digo.
And why the
Por
youngers?
eso.
Why the youngers? We keep working on with youngers
Elemental. Sobre
because the
todo
youngers.
lo que significa
They always say the youngers are the future. There's no doubt about
a
that.
lugares
Above
donde se
all,
generan cambios.
the
Porque
arrival of new
indefectiblemente
generations to
nosotros, Leo
places
querido, que tenemos ya una determinada
where
edad,
changes are made.
es fantástico ver cómo las nuevas
Leo, my dear,
generaciones más jóvenes a
we've
través de
reached
sus
an
vidas,
age
de sus ganas, de su trabajo, de sus
that it
sueños,
is wonderful
van
to
también
see how
creando y
youngers,
haciendo
through
este mundo
ideas, work, and dreams, create
sí, por
this
supuesto.
world its own world. They are the future, but even the present. And this is so interesting
Sí.
because when you make that the youngers empower themselves and have the conviction that these dreams turn into reality, they can influence in their context, and we see this in a lot of youngers. We inspire them, and the system enriches exactly, and we have the networks that amplify that youngers have to do in a responsible way. That this is one of the biggest paradigm that we live in our history. Well, so what does this NAU Fest mean? It represents this revolution of technology to the service of, not the technology as an end, but as a tool. At the end of the day, it is the person who empowers.
Sí, por supuesto. Y las
We're all
adaptaciones que
conscious
que lograr durante un
about
exactamente.
good and bad that COVID left us and the adaptations that we had to do for our youngers, that many times they felt disconnected, even being connected.
Si bien tendemos hoy a relacionarnos y mucha parte del
Sometimes
tiempo
it's incredible
lo digital y lo virtual es muy importante, como a veces
if we tend to nowadays
la interacción es también
to create relations between technology and
y
us.
una cosa
How
va de
you
la mano con la otra.
sometimes see that this importance of technology and humans. We wanted to support this youngers during the COVID. They lost their support. That's why NAU Fest is an initiative, a massive initiative to reach the youngers from the regions. Thanks to this NAU Fest, that the youngers can connect with themselves first and with other leaders like you and what they want to do ahead, leaving aside the negative about COVID and connect about themselves and what they can do, what the changes they can do, and how to make the dreams true and how it impacts in the family and the world, in our workmates. The NAU Fest is a combination between tools. That's why we had 20 workshops, amazing about the youngest chose the themes. It was them saying what they wanted to know about. And we have history lives to listen to. It's so important. Oh, the nomination for the Nobel Prize of Peace, parodying something paradigmatic like the Nobel Prize of Peace. We celebrate this not like junior achievement organization. We celebrate between education and the concept of peace, how society will evolve and reach the progress. And if we reach that our generations educate, is to put a stamp that surely if we educate the youngest, we will reach peace. It's not that junior achievements. There are a lot of organizations to give youngers. I imagine that one of these nominations, it's not only an honor and you're so happy, but this is responsibility for junior achievement. That's right. That's right.
Hay
We
mucha
have
gente
more
que
than
ahora
4,000
trabaja
colleagues around the world.
Junior Achievement
Okay,
en
you're a
nuestro país,
lot.
en
There
el
are
mundo.
a lot of people who work and collaborate with junior achievement every day in the whole
Sí, por
world.
supuesto.
We're talking about a thousand volunteers because one is the people who work, and then we have the volunteers that
Feliz,
encourage themselves
feliz.
to
Y
inspire.
sobre todo porque
In fact, you're a
logramos,
volunteer. Yes, I'm happy. I'm a happy volunteer.
logramos esta
But
interacción
above
no
all,
solo en
because I
nuestras
have the
formas
chance
digitales, la
to,
tecnología, sino lo que sucede cuando me ha tocado
we talked about this
encontrarme a veces
interaction,
con muchos de
technology,
ustedes, que seguramente
I
con algunos de
would
ustedes me habré cruzado en
sometimes
alguno de
I
los eventos de Junior Achievement, en alguna de
found
las
many
plataformas,
of you,
y verlos
sure, I
realizando
met
lo
you
que más les gusta y
in one of the
desarrollándose y
platforms
ser achievers y ese orgullo
and
que
see
te
you
lleva a eso,
doing what you
te lleva a
most
eso,
like and
y poder
develop
charlar y poder
yourself and be
interactuar
an
y poder
achiever and this
hablar
proud that it
sobre lo
takes
que nos pasa, nos sucede
and be able
y
to talk,
cómo
interact,
nosotros podemos ser
speak
agentes
about
buenos
what's
para cambiar
happening
el
to
mundo
us
y
and
para
how
generar esto que
we
vos decías,
can be
generar
agents,
concreción
good
de sueños,
agents, to generate an impact
desarrollo.
and to generate this,
Pero uno se
what
va
we were
adaptando.
talking
Cómo
about,
uno, no importa en el lugar donde nos
dreams,
desarrollamos, qué nos gusta,
development,
podemos hacer las cosas bien y
and
podemos
you adapt.
generar un impacto y podemos
It doesn't matter where
realmente
you develop yourself, we
ser felices.
can do things
Y
good, we
aprender que
can
nos gustan
generate an
estas cosas también.
impact,
Porque también
really,
la
we can
vida
be
es un
happy
proceso de adaptación a un montón de
and
situaciones
learn
y lo hemos
about
vivido con esta pandemia del COVID,
the
que
things we
durante 2 años
like
estuvo de un lado para el otro con
because
un montón de situaciones
life is a process of
extrañas,
adaptation.
sobre todo para
Also,
esta
we've
generación que nos
seen,
toca,
we've
o en esta etapa que nos
lived
toca vivir,
this
que
with a
nunca nos había
COVID
tocado algo así.
situation.
Y
Above
se
all, for
trata de esto,
this
¿no? De poder
generation, that
hacer
we
un
never lived
camino
something like
y
this.
lograr esos
And
mojones,
this is
esos
about
achievements, y ser un propio achiever
to
de tus
do
propias
the
cosas y
way
ser orgulloso desde
and
el
reach
lugar
that
de
achievements
participar en
and
la vida
be
que
your
tienes.
own achiever
No
and
importa
be
a lo que te quieras desarrollar,
proud
lo que quieras hacer, en qué rama de la
from the
tecnología, de las
position you have
ciencias, de
to
la, no sé,
be.
de las
It
ciencias
doesn't matter
humanas,
what
del arte,
you
te
want to
desarrolles.
do, in
Lo
which
que vos
branch of
tengas ganas
technology or
y lo que
science
sientas
or
haciéndolo, cómo
humanities
conectas
you
con
want to
eso,
develop
y cómo,
yourself,
aunque no te des
but the
cuenta, estás
way you
impactando
do it,
constantemente
how
a
you
todo lo que te
feel
rodea.
doing
Eso
this,
es
how you
trabajo para mí.
grow doing this. And although you don't realize the
Es impresionante.
fact that you're making
Sí,
impact on
sí,
everybody,
absolutamente.
we have a lot of youngers in the regions.
Por supuesto.
Juniors
Estás hablando de un
reaches
porcentaje.
1.4 million.
Entonces,
And how many people are out there waiting for us? Thanks to leaders like you in junior,
pero sobre
we
todo,
dream
más que
about
nosotros, son
reaching
todos ustedes que están del otro lado mirando todo esto, los agentes
for
de ese
youngest to
cambio, de
be
esa
part of
generación
this.
de todo
But
lo que
not
estamos
only
hablando,
us, it's
son ustedes.
you that you
Son,
are watching
son
us, the
jóvenes
agents of
en toda la
this
región que
change,
nos están
what we're
escribiendo ahora, que se
talking
están
about.
preocupando con lo que
It's
sucede, que
you,
hicieron
it's
los talleres
youngers
en un
that
ratito
are
van a
writing
escuchar
to
cosas
us,
espectaculares. Bueno, Leo,
that did the
muchas gracias.
workshops.
Felicitaciones. Y ahora sí,
We're going
atención,
to listen
porque
to
con vos
some
acá, Leo,
talks.
vamos a seguir avanzando
Well,
en
Leo,
esta
thank
NAU
you
Fest
very
en
much.
este día
Now,
tan
yes,
especial,
attention.
porque
With you
lógicamente
here, we're
tenemos
going to
charlas magistrales
go ahead
que son
in this
inspiradoras,
special
emocionales
day
de vida y sobre todo por lo
because we
que
have
han generado
great
en este
speakers,
mundo
which are
contemporáneo que
inspiring
conocemos,
because of
¿no?
life
Y vamos a
histories
empezar este día principal,
and
y
what
quédate acá,
they
Leo, conmigo, por
generated
favor.
in
Bien, pero
this
bien arreglado, porque hoy
contemporary
tenemos el
world.
privilegio de contar con un pedazo
Stay
de historia
here,
del
Leo,
mundo aquí
please.
en esta NAU
We're going to
Fest.
begin
Antes
with
de presentar a los primeros invitados del día de
a
hoy,
piece
vamos a hablar
of
un poquito de
history of
historia para
world
poder
now in
de
this
alguna
NAU
manera
Fest before
entender
we
quiénes son nuestros
present the
invitados y
first
sobre todo lo que significa
invite.
su familia para la historia
Let's talk about a
africana
little
y la historia
history
del mundo.
to
Muchos
understand
de ustedes seguramente
who
conocen
is
a
our
Nelson Mandela,
guest.
quien no necesita presentación,
About
Leo, no
African
necesita,
history.
y toda su historia. Uno de
Many
los
of you
presidentes más
know,
importantes y uno
for
de los
sure,
líderes
you know
más
Nelson
importantes de
Mandela.
la historia contemporánea y
There's
de la
no
historia de la
necessity
humanidad.
for a presentation.
Una historia de vida, de resiliencia, única en la
One of
historia
the
que nos
most
convirtió
important
en,
leaders
en
of
un paradigma de líder
history,
inspirador
history
en la
of
historia de la
life and
humanidad. Pero
resilience
para quienes no lo conocen y seguramente van a
that
querer saber
turned him
mucho
into
más
a
sobre él,
paradigm,
te
a
contamos
leadership
un poquito más, ¿te parece?
paradigm, and
Porque en
inspiring.
el
If
año
you want to know more
1948,
about him,
lo que hoy
let's talk
conocemos
about
como
him
Sudáfrica
a
implementó de
little
manera
bit.
oficial
In
lo que se conoció como el
1948,
apartheid, que era un sistema de
what we
segregación
know
racial que
of
mediante leyes
South Africa
determinaba cómo
implemented
era
the
la vida
apartheid.
de las personas en función de su
It
raza.
was a racial
Lógicamente,
system
trabajo para diferentes razas, diferentes formas donde
regarding
se podía vivir, y se puedan imaginar quiénes eran los únicos que tenían acceso a
regarding
una
how their
buena
lives were
calidad.
because of their
Nelson
races,
Mandela
different
muy pronto se
jobs.
convirtió en una activista
Imagine
de la lucha
who
contra el
had the
apartheid.
access
Eh,
to an
pero
education
inicialmente se planteó
system.
desde la protesta
Nelson
como una
Mandela
perspectiva
became an activist
bajo
against
aquello
the
que eran los
apartheid.
conceptos de otro gran líder que
Uh,
es Mahatma
he was
Gandhi.
looking for a
Esa lucha
pacifist
lo lleva a ser perseguido,
under
amenazado, finalmente juzgado y
concepts
encarcelado.
of
Finalmente
Mahatma
estuvo preso
Gandhi.
durante 27 años y muchos de esos años en
He
una
was
isla afuera
persecuted,
de la costa
judged.
de Ciudad del Cabo, se llama Robben Island, en los
He
que
was
él estuvo
27
desde ahí,
years in
nunca dejó de luchar
prison
por sus
on an
ideales
island,
y es una
Robben
prueba
Island.
de lucha y resiliencia enorme. Luego
He
de salir de
didn't
la cárcel,
stop fighting for
gracias
his
a la presión
ideal.
internacional que ayudó a
It's a proof
visibilizarlo, que estaba
of
sucediendo en Sudáfrica en
resilience,
ese
a
momento,
huge proof of
Nelson
resilience.
Mandela se convierte,
And
se
thank
presenta
you
primero en las
to
elecciones
the
y se
international
convierte
pressing. Nelson
en el
Mandela
presidente del
became,
país. La verdad
he
que su
presented
historia de
to
vida
elections
es maravillosa y por eso para
and
Junior Achievement
became
es un
president of the
verdadero
country.
honor
His
contar en esta NAU
history of
Fest
life
con
is
este panel
wonderful.
hoy a Endao
And for
Mandela,
junior achievements,
quien
it
es
is
el
a
nieto de Nelson
remarkable
Mandela y lo
honor
mantiene vivo, es el tan
to
increíble de haber
introduce
llegado a
Ndawa
llevarle la
Mandela,
vida
who is
a los
the
africanos a través de una fundación que se llama
grandchild
Africa
of
Rising. Le
Mandela,
vamos a dar la bienvenida, pero
and who is an
antes,
inspired people.
lógicamente, lo vamos a
He
introducir a
has
una,
a
una persona
foundation
muy
called
importante
Africa
dentro de Junior Achievement.
Rising.
Estamos hablando de Ashish Advani, quien
We're
es el
going to
CEO y quien va
introduce him
a
like
estar
a
guiando
very
esta
important
charla
person for
exclusiva
junior
con Ndawa
achievement.
Mandela. Bienvenido, welcome Ashish, ¿cómo va? How are you?
Thank you, Yvonne.
Welcome.
It is such a pleasure for me to be able to do this interview today. I'm so excited. I want to get right to it and bring in our guest. Tadaba, are you there?
I am here. How are you, my friend?
All right, there you are. It's so good to see you. It's truly a pleasure to have you with us. I understand you actually have been connected to Junior Achievement Argentina in the past, so you go back with us a little bit.
That's correct. A number of ago, I went on an entrepreneurship course in Jordan where I met a gentleman by the name of Hernan Vigolini, and he actually then got me to be introduced to Junior Achievement, and I traveled all the way to Cordoba, where I spoke to many young people across Argentina, and it was really a fantastic experience for me. So I'm glad to be back with you guys once again.
Thank you for doing this. And Hernan's amazing. So the fact that he's sort of got this long history with JA and has brought you to happiness. So let me start, because I know that everyone's really curious about your childhood. So maybe you can start way back and tell us about what your youth was like.
Well, I was born in Soweto during a time when the apartheid system was at the helm of our society. I remember growing up and experiencing the police would come to our, our township, which is the hood, which is in the ghetto, and they would raid houses. And I remember just being so angry looking at all these police raiding people that had nothing, the poorest of the poor in our community. And they would take their clothes and throw them on the floor in their beds and their cupboards. And a traumatic experience for me. And I grew up wanting to be a soldier so that I could fight back and hit back at the police. So, but I was very lucky not to experience that. And not long after that, when I was about 11 years old, my grandfather came to pick me up, and he took me to the white, leafy northern suburbs of Johannesburg.
Well, I mean, to meet your grandfather at the age of 11, for your first 11 years, then you didn't really grow up with the respect of being the grandson of the leader, right? So you really had to live your first 10, 11 years, like many of us who are listening, actually. So tell us what those first 10, 11 years was like. Tell us about, what your life was.
Yes, so my life, I was in the ghetto. I was born in Soweto. I then moved to the Eastern Cape to live with my grandmother, which was actually my grandfather's first wife. Her name is Evelyn Massa. Many people don't know that he was actually married before Winnie Mandela. So Winnie Mandela was actually the second wife. And when we moved to the Eastern Cape, it was a little bit better because my grandmother actually had a shop that she owned, which was right next to the bus station. So there were a lot of visitors that would come by. But, I then moved back to Soweto. Actually, I moved before I went to move to Soweto. I moved to Durban, and then I eventually moved back to Soweto, where I was struggling and I was poor, like many families across South Africa. So those years were rough, and I experienced what every young people experience. I didn't have enough food. I used to go eat at the neighbor's house, and even my father couldn't afford to pay for me to go to school every day. He asked the neighbor if I could catch a ride with their kids to go to school every day. So yeah, the first 10 years were a bit rough.
Los primeros 10 años fueron muy duros.
Now looking back upon it, I'm sure you built some resilience as a result of those early years. But we want to hear a little bit about your interaction with your grandfather, Nelson Mandela. I know everyone calls him Amadiba, right? That's what I should refer to him as Madiba. Is that good?
That's right. So Madiba is actually our clan name.
Ese es
So we
el
come
nombre
from the
de
royal
nuestro clan. Venimos del reino de los Tembuls y todos los miembros de nuestro reino se conocen como Amadibas.
Porque
los hombres Amadibas y las mujeres
Masromos.
Okay, well, I'll refer to him as Madiba as well then.
Entonces me referiré a él como Amadiba.
I understand that you lost your sweater and there's a story there. Tell us about the lost sweater story.
Cuéntanos un poco de esa historia.
So, it was in the winter time, and I had lost my jersey
for
the second time, actually.
Por segunda vez.
And I was very scared, but I needed to get another jersey because it was cold. So I went to tell my grandfather what had happened, and he said to me, well, tonight you will sleep outside.
Dormirás afuera. Entonces
and as the
y
sun
cuando el
was
sol
going down,
estaba ocultándose,
I saw Mama
Macaulay,
Mama Macaulay was the lady
que era el
who
señor
cooked
que
us.
nos
She brought
cocinaba,
a blanket.
una manta.
And I
Y
said,
dije,
oh
Dios
my
mío,
God,
realmente voy a
I'm really
dormir
going to sleep
afuera.
outside. And
Y 10 minutos antes,
10 minutes afterwards,
estaba muy
when it was
oscuro.
really dark,
Mi abuelo me llamó con el dedo.
my grandfather called me, and he called me like this. And
En
when he
ese
brought
momento
the
sabía que
finger,
era de
that's when
verdad.
you knew he meant business.
Y dijo que
And he said,
si alguna vez pierdes un jersey de nuevo, definitivamente
if
dormirás
ever
afuera.
lose another jersey
Ve
again,
adentro, come tu
you will
comida
definitely
y ve directo a la
sleep
cama.
outside. Or go inside, eat your.
Creo que aprendiste mucho de él.
Well,
¿Qué aprendiste de él?
I can imagine you learned a lot from him. Tell us a little bit more about what you learned from him.
Una de las cosas que aprendí, recuerdo,
Well, one of the things that I learned from him
estaba cenando con él y me
at a
dijo,
very early
Albert,
age,
eres mi nieto.
I remember having dinner with
Por lo
him,
tanto, las
and he
personas
said,
te
"Albert,
verán como líder.
you are my
Por
grandson.
ende, debes tener las
Therefore,
mejores notas
be
en clases.
as a
Y
leader.
dije, wow.
Therefore,
Qué
you get
presión,
the
qué
best
presión.
marks in class." And I was
Yo
like,
solo
"Whoa,
quería ser un niño normal.
whoa.
Quería sentarme al final de la clase
Pressure.
y con una
I just
lapicera
want, okay,
disparábamos
I just wanted to
pedacitos de
sit at the
papel en la
back of
nuca de las niñas.
class, and with the
Me
pen,
di cuenta de
shoot,
que
you put little things and you
mi
shoot
abuelo
the
me
peas
ponía
at the neck
esta
of the
presión
girls, but I realized that
porque yo
my
le importaba
grandfather was
y quería
actually
que creciera
giving me this
entendiendo
pressure because he
que
cared
ahora tenía
about me,
educación,
and he
que
really
tenía
wants me
privilegios.
to rise up,
Y vivir con él me dio la
understanding
ventaja de
that I had now
saber
education,
que
I had
es
the
un verdadero
privileges,
líder.
and I
Y
obviously
eso es
lived
una
with
cosa que
him.
tenemos que
I had
recordar,
an
damas y
advantage of
caballeros,
knowing what a true leader
que
is.
nuestros padres nos ponen
And that's one
presión para que,
thing we need to remember, ladies and
para
gentlemen,
que seamos la
is
mejor
that our
versión de nosotros mismos.
parents are giving us
Tienen que saber
pressure
cómo se hace un
so that we
diamante.
can
El diamante se hace
become the
con mucha
best version of
presión
ourselves. You must
que se
remember how a
ejerce debajo de
diamond
la
is made.
tierra
A
y
diamond
luego
is
se
made
transforma en un diamante.
through the pressure
Padres
that is
presionan
applied
mucho
underneath the earth,
para
and so
tratar
that becomes a diamond.
de que seamos la mejor
So our
versión de
parents put
nosotros.
pressure on us
Solo después me di cuenta de la
to try
importancia de ser un líder.
and become the best version of ourselves. And only much later did I realize and understand the importance of becoming a
Líder es
leader.
alguien que
And a leader is somebody that is actually not supposed to be boastful or supposed to be the best. A leader
no
is
se
simply
supone que sea el
somebody
mejor.
that stands for others who cannot stand
El
for
líder
themselves, who
es
speaks for those who can't
quien
speak.
vela por las necesidades
And
de
so
otros.
therefore, that is the person who serves the needs of others. That is what leadership is about.
I love that metaphor. I love that. Diamond is really, at the end of the day, a piece of charcoal that has had resilience.
Me encanta esa
So I
metáfora,
love
el
that metaphor of
diamante
the
es al
diamond.
final un pedazo de carbón con resiliencia, me
The
encanta la
work that
metáfora
you
del
do
diamante.
now
Entonces el
is
trabajo que
very
haces ahora
much
es más
about
que
changing mindsets
cambiar
in Africa.
mentalidades en África.
So tell us
Cuéntanos la
about the
conexión
connection really to the
con el
work
trabajo
you
que
do
haces
now
ahora,
about
cómo
how
cambias las
you actually
mentalidades a
change the
través del
mindset
continente.
of
Cuéntanos.
potentially even youth across the continent. So tell us.
So
El líder es
for
aquel
us,
que
you know,
habla
one
por
thing we
quienes no pueden
realized
hablar.
is that people outside of the continent of Africa have very
Es aquel
limited
que sirve a las
knowledge about
necesidades de
Africa.
los otros.
And when you
Eso es
ask
lo que
people, they will tell you what is
ser líderes.
perpetuated on
Me
mainstream
encanta
media,
esa
that
metáfora.
Africa is a
Me
place of
encanta.
war,
El
poverty,
diamante es al
disease,
final
and dictator.
un pedazo de
And the
carbón
only good
con
thing about Africa is go
resiliencia.
on a safari.
Me encanta la
And so
metáfora
we
de
decided that we wanted this to change. And so we realized that the only
Entonces
ways
el
we're
trabajo
going
que
to change
haces
is
ahora
if
es
we
más que
empower
cambiar
the youth
mentalidades en África.
and give them a
Cuéntanos la
heightened sense
conexión
of
con el trabajo que
confidence
haces ahora, cómo
so that when
cambias
they
las
travel
mentalidades a través del
and they
continente.
meet people from outside of the continent, they can talk about Africa with a heightened sense of pride and dignity in being an African. To say, I am an African, I know what it means to be an African, and I am proud of it.
El trabajo que haces ahora se trata de
And so
cambiar
we started to work with
mentalidades.
young people
Cuéntanos
in the
acerca de
rural
eso.
areas of Southern Africa to make sure that they have
¿Cómo
access
cambias
not
las
only to education,
mentalidades?
but to the tools they need in order to break the
Cuéntanos.
cycle of poverty. So we did a
Nosotros nos dimos
partnership
cuenta
with
de que la
NetBank, where they
gente
taught
fuera de
financial literacy.
África
We did a
tiene
partnership with
poco
Unilever,
conocimiento de
where they
África.
taught young girls in our village about
Cuando les
hygiene.
preguntas, solo dicen lo que los medios
Partnered
principales
with
dicen,
Oracle, a
que hay
software
guerra,
company that taught young
que
people
es un
about
lugar de
computer
dictadores, de
programming.
dictaduras,
And we did
enfermedades. Y
about
lo único
200 young
bueno
people
es hacer un
who went
safari.
through that program,
Nosotros
which was a
decidimos que
3-month
queremos
program.
que esto cambie.
We even did sports. And we also
La
did
única
an
manera de que eso
agricultural program.
cambie es empoderar a la
Partnered with the
juventud y
Department
darles
of
un alto sentido de
Land Reform and
confianza
Rural
para que cuando
Development,
viajan
where
y
we
se
talked about
encuentren con
the
personas fuera del
importance
continente,
of
puedan hablar de
household farming, to say that young people should be able to farm in their homes so that they don't buy everything from the shops, and so they could save some money if they could plant some of the vegetables that they eat at home. And we distributed about 250,000 vegetable seeds across rural parts of South Africa. And so for us, it's really about making sure that young Africans understand their great history. And so if people can understand the great history, they can understand that they themselves are people of greatness and can achieve greatness. As long as you have the will, as long as you have an open mind, and you are honest with yourselves, we believe that we can give young people the access to the tools they need to break the cycle of poverty. And in that so doing, understand that we are the masters of our own destiny. And therefore, when we come together and we share our challenges, we can be the very same people that come up with those solutions and therefore create a better community and a better world, one community at a time.
Wow, the work you do is so inspirational. You know, as somebody who was born in India, I can tell you the self-perception of being an Indian. My mother had to keep telling me about amazing role models of other Indians who'd succeeded, because I moved from India to Canada when I was very young, and you need that sense of what's possible. I know we've got many young people from Latin America listening, and maybe it's the same in Latin America, where you need to have role models from your part of the world. So what you're doing is so critical. Tell us, like, how do you actually change the mindset of a young person to actually start to see themselves doing more, see themselves as capable of achievement? I mean, what you're doing is really remarkable. You must have learned some lessons.
Yes, so you see what my grandfather was able to achieve, you know, that shows me that I'm able to achieve that, because he took me in and he sent my parents to university because he didn't want my father to worry about me when he was studying, and so he took me in. And so when I wrote the book, Going to the Mountain, Life Lessons from My Grandfather, it was to write about the book in a way where young people could understand about Nelson Mandela being a grandfather, not a revolutionary, not a president, because young people would see that as something very far away. But if you can see him as a grandfather, because we all have grandfathers, right? And so in that way, we can relate to the story in a much easier way. So it's really about talking to young people in their ways and say, as a grandfather, this is the type of person that he was. And so you yourself can picture your own grandmother or your own grandfather and understand that you yourself are going to get old. And so you can understand that you are in a position of power, because really it's about the choices that you make on a daily basis that will determine the journey of success of life that you live. So in order to be a great person, it's about making good choices on a daily basis. Yes, of course, you want to be a president and you want to eventually raise lots of money to build a resource center in our village where young people can come and have access to computers. But you must remember that you must also understand to put, small baby steps that you can achieve on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to basis. And next thing you know, you have achieved something of a huge challenge. So young people, I tell them that they need to be able to put themselves small little challenges that they can achieve. And before you know it, they would have walked up a mountain and really gone up a mountain. And understand that failure, ladies and gentlemen, is not your enemy. You need to be able to fail. The more you fail, the closer you are to succeeding, because you're afraid of not how to do things. And eventually you'll find the right way of doing the things. So do not be deterred by failure. Each time you fail, you should actually celebrate and say, today I failed, maybe tomorrow will be the day I find the answer.
You are inspiring me with your remarks. This is just so amazing. Now, I want you to tell us about your failures. Did your grades actually go up when your grandfather said, now focus on your grades? Tell us about some of your failures.
Well, it took a long time for my grades to actually get up, because at the beginning, I didn't even try because I thought it was too much, because I wasn't really focused on my books. I was really focused on having fun. But at a later stage, just before I finished high school, I did realize that, if you don't try, you will never succeed. So it's really about trying and making sure that you give it a concerted effort, right? You want to make sure that you give it a good effort. And I did do that. And I actually eventually passed with good marks. And I was able to then go to university. So yes, I have failed many times in my own organization of Africa Rising. We started in 2010. And for us, it was very difficult because a lot of people thought, being the son of Nelson Mandela, things were very easy for me. And so, having to raise money to even register the organization, we basically decided to ask each of us that were working in the organization to each put something. So that's how we started, because we couldn't raise it out there. And then we decided that let our work speak for itself, because a lot of people out there, because of Mandela, will think that things are coming very easy. And so it took us a long time to be able to raise money, for people to take us seriously. But we were not deterred. We just continued until they realized that actually there is a community that we are serving. There are young people that we have actually brought into the Africa Rising Foundation and are working with them on a monthly basis to help them. And then they said, no, these guys are serious about what they're trying to do. Let us support them. So after about 6 years, they eventually came on board. And now we have great partners that we work with. And there's people that reach out to us every day for different projects and working with young people to give them the tools they need to succeed.
Well, I love the story of resilience and perseverance. It's a good lesson for all of us. And even with your very well-respected last name, it really takes hard work for everyone. And I think it's good for you to share that with the audience. I'm told that when you were young, you had a chance to meet some fascinating people. I think you even met Messi, right? You met Ronaldo. I mean, tell us about some of the star power that came into your house when you were young.
Yes, one of the first people that I met that was a mega star was actually Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson was a real inspiration to all of us, as you know, because he was the first Black person to achieve major success. And although there's many stories about Michael Jackson or what he did and what he didn't do, one thing I can tell you is that he gave a lot to people of African origin, to our Grandfathers Foundation. And he was a very humble man. At a later stage, I also met with Fidel Castro. I really enjoyed meeting with Fidel Castro. I remember he said to me that I looked like the boxer in the family. So that made me feel very, very, very strong. And of course, those days I was living in the gym, I was really working out and I was really, I had a great body. I think I must have been about 21 or so.
You still look like a boxer to me. I think you still look strong to me for what it's worth.
Thank you. And I also got to meet Messi as well as Ronaldo. Ronaldo, I particularly enjoyed meeting him. I remember after, because obviously we're young and we're big soccer fans. And I said to him, I said, hey, the ladies in the kitchen would like to meet you. And he said, well, show me where the kitchen is. Let's go. And he was just so gung-ho and so, ready to go. I took him to the kitchen and he met the ladies and he was just so enthusiastic, took pictures with the ladies. And I really enjoy that because to me, it also was a same sort of character that my grandfather had. Whenever my grandfather would go somewhere, he'd always ask, where is the staff? Where are the people working here? I want to be able to greet them too. And that is the compassion. Yes, it's important to have passion when you're working on projects, but also the compassion is what you have for people, the people that you work with and the people that you serve. So for me, that was very important. And that's really what came out when I met with Cristiano Ronaldo, a real inspirational leader. I met with Lennox Lewis as well. I mean, I have met with John Travolta, I've met with Prince Harry. I've met with a range of people from across the world. And it's all, due to my grandfather being such a legend. And most of them were actually very down-to-earth people, I must say.
Well, what's amazing about your stories is you look at these relationships through the prism of what makes a good leader. So all of your responses was why they're service-oriented and why they're good leaders, which leads me to ask you the question you must ask this all the time, is do you have any aspirations to get involved with politics? And as you think of your own leadership potential, clearly you have it because of what you're doing. I mean, is there an opportunity for you to give back in a bigger way by becoming a leader in a geography of your choice?
Well, I believe that it is up to every single one of us to be able to serve in the best way that we can. And we cannot allow people to stand up, which we know do not have their hearts in the right place. Many people want to stand up because of money, because of power, not because of the right reasons, because they want to make their country better. So it would be a shame for me not to stand up and be counted when the time comes. So for now, our time is here for us to prepare, to clean ourselves up, and to prepare ourselves to make sure that we have the right team surrounding us in order for us to be able to prepare for the big battle and for the big fight that is up ahead. So yes, we shall stand up and we shall be counted. We shall make our voices heard, all in due time.
Well, all in due time. We have many people who are listening from really all over the world who are waiting for that all in due time to happen. But maybe you can share with them some final lessons, something that gets them inspired to realize their own full potential. What advice do you have for the young people listening to you?
Well, the first thing I will say to young people is that without your health, there is nothing that we can achieve. So let us not forget that we are still facing the COVID virus and many other things. So the first thing the young people need to understand is that we need to keep taking good care of our health. The second thing I will say to young people is you need to dream. And I want you to dream so big that your dreams scare you. If your dreams don't scare you, you are not dreaming big enough. You must remember, Martin Luther King had a dream. JFK had a dream, right? Even Winnie Mandela have a dream. And so the bigger you dream, the bigger you have set yourself up to conquer that dream. And don't forget, my grandfather says, each time I faced a mountain and I was able to climb that mountain and get to the top, when I got to the top, I realized there are many more mountains to climb. And we as young people have many mountains to climb. First of all, you want to go to university. How are you going to afford that university? Then after university, you have to go try and get a job. And now when you're getting a job, you're going for the same job that your white counterpart is going for, right? And so every stage of our lives, we are having to climb a mountain. So do not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to dream big. Remember, we are the masters of our destiny. And if you don't try, you will never know how great you are. We all have a Nelson Mandela that lives within of us. The Nelson Mandela that stands up in the face of adversity, that stands up to make sure they are doing the right thing and making the right decisions. So let us find the Nelson Mandela that lives within of us and unleash him onto the world.
Oh my goodness. Junior achievement helps young people realize their full potential. So what you're saying, it really speaks to my heart, because it is what my colleagues do every day around the world. Is
My friend, I hope you have a great day. And the young people out there, remember, you come from greatness. Even though it may have been taken away, you have everything in front of you to become the leader of your destiny.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Eliana.
Wow,
Wow,
wow.
wow.
It is true that at the beginning we were talking that today it is going to be an amazing day that is going to change the rest of your life. And thanks to all of you, now you realize how is it important is it to do you that you can invest your time, actions in things that will make you grow and evolution. So I'm very happy that you're here today and that you're then going to be inspired many young people to join us. This talk that we had in many opportunities that it's an amazing way of interacting. It's I took some notes that I think that were very important, and if I am able, uh, before talking and seeing the chat, I would like to see after my comments what comments impacted you most. I took some notes and I will read to you this. For example, being able to read this book that Daba was talking about his grandfather, uh, this idea of talking about inspiration and choices. I love when he commented that having a better present and a future is the moment in which we take better choices day by day in the way in which we fall asleep, how we shut down the mind in order to be able to rest, to have the light and the ideas. So we need to be able to do that. How you initiate your day, the people that you are surrounded by, what you consume, what do you put your time in, the kind of people that you would like now to spend more time with. It is something very, very interesting that is to make the best choices every single day about dreaming big. Do not be afraid about this. You're getting closer to success. Every time you fail, you're getting closer to success. So I didn't get what I wanted. So do not feel bad because it means that you're getting closer to achieve success. I will read to you a bit Very inspiring. Hi, Sophia. How are you? Thanks, says dear. We have a Nelson Mandela in our hearts. Paola says he talks a bit about separation and the successful future. What is nicest night, says Brian. What else did you like? He inspires you, he pushes you to move on. Thanks. Who else would like to share what you lived? Thanks. There you have the chat. And like I said, there's no silly questions. All questions are welcome. I don't really know where this story came from, but they were saying that in a family, the father came back by dinner time and he would tell his kids like, I would like to tell you today, I would like you to tell me today, when did you fail today? So they had to come back to their houses and they had to take and they had to tell their dad about choices, some negative things, and that's what his dad wanted, so that next day they would be able to see how they could improve. So let's not be afraid of failure, because that is part of life and it is part of what is going to happen. And all bright minds and great leaders, such as Nelson Mandela, had a lot of failures. It's part of it. Do not be afraid if maybe your next project is not moving forward. Well, you're going to fall, but then you're going to learn what you need to change. I can do this, I can improve that, I can have this, I will like to develop this other thing. And I also liked that Dava Mandela also commented about compassion. I think that it is a respect that it is given to you so that you can give it to the others. The idea that I see you, I care about you, I listen to you, to be compassionate. He says that he met a lot of characters, and he said like Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, the people in the kitchen were wanted to look at them, and Dava Mandela told him that, well, he was able to go to the kitchen to meet the girls. So, and well, his grandfather would always ask about the staff, about the people, where are they? This idea that we're able to see a little bit more in all the people so that we can celebrate them and enrich them. It is very important that, well, it is better that we always remember to watch and see the people around us who are helping us so that day by day we are able to reach our goals. The people that we see in the street, the people that clean our house, the people who take care of our houses, the police officers, the people driving next to you. It is very important to have all this in mind. And I think that with these messages that Dava Mandela gave us, uh, we are taking an amazing interview uh, to our hearts. So now we're going to move on to our sixth day in the NAU Fest, and let's turn up the volume because I want you to share with us in the social media what is going on. And now we want women to be protagonists here. Now I'm listening to the music and I want to take my stage. Well, hello everyone, how are you?
Hola, Iliana, ¿qué
Hello,
tal?
Ileana, how are you? How are you, girls? How many days have you been with us in the Now Fest? Well, I have been every day since the first talk until today. Good. I would like you to tell me what was the most thing you liked about this fest. What I liked was the workshops in which we were able to learn a lot about leaderships, and I was also able to be in a team with people from Honduras, and I was able to meet them. So it was very nice, and to be able to connect with other Latin American girls. Wow. Do you have new friends now?
Sí, tenemos como 5
Well, yeah, Yes,
Sim,
we are now
colocamos
connected through
conectados
WhatsApp.
aí.
I love
Me
it. I love it.
encanta
So
para
that you
que siga
can keep on
creando nuevos
creating new
proyectos, tenga nuevos amigos. ¿Y
friends.
cómo
And
va
how
en las
about
redes
social
sociales? ¿Estás
networks? Are
actualizando
you
todo por
sharing
allí mismo?
everything you lived?
Sí, también,
Yes, sure.
todo por allí mismo.
We're using
Hashtag
the
NAUFest.
hashtags.
Eso,
Great.
hashtag
Yes, hashtag
NAUFest. Yo
Now
cuando
Fest.
ustedes me
Well,
digan,
have a
¡wow!
nice day. It's been a
Necesito conocer
pleasure
más
to meet
Perú, qué
you.
bonito es
Peru is
Perú
so
y cómo se
beautiful. The
come
food is
también con
delicious
mucha
there.
pasta.
Thanks a lot and
Bienvenidos.
welcome.
¿Quiénes
What an
quieren saber
energy.
más? Y bueno, pues
Well, and
ahora
now I would like to
quiero
introduce
presentarles
you with
con
this
esta energía
energy
que ya
that we're
vamos prendiendo un
lighting
poco
up.
más. Les voy a
I would
presentar
like
a
to
nuestra segunda speaker del día de
introduce the
hoy.
second
Quiero
speaker
pedir
for
que me
today, and
hagan
I would
un
like to
poco de
get
música,
some
pero ahora sí como,
music.
a ver, primero
But
que mi señor productor me ponga la música
please,
porque
our
trae
producer, I
mucho
would like you
sabor,
to put
porque
me
trae
some
mucha
music with
samba,
flavor,
porque
samba,
tiene todo
because she
el
has everything.
flow. Muy bien,
Well,
¿qué tal si les parece? Nos
let's
paramos
stand
todos
up
todas de pie,
and
todos de pie, y vamos a
let's
comenzar a
stretch a
estirarnos.
bit. Okay.
Ok, si quieres
Well, if
bailar
you would
también
like
lo
to
puedes
dance, you can
hacer.
also do it.
Eso de
I
la
love the
samba,
life. Yes,
vamos a
you need a little bit of crazy in your life.
quiero la
Put your
samba
hands
también.
up.
A ver, vamos a hacerlo, sí.
Let's
Es
see.
que saben que yo lo que
I,
estoy
I,
viendo
I
por
am
el
looking at
productor.
you
Es lo que
through
ustedes no
your
sabían, ¿verdad?
screens. It is something that you didn't know, right? Okay,
Muy
good.
bien,
Well,
manos
let's clap.
para ti, para ti, para ti, para ti.
I love it.
Me
I love
encanta.
it. You
Qué
know what?
bien, ¿no? Ahora
Well,
sí,
now
vámonos con
we're
nuestra
ready
primera
to introduce our
invitada. Ella es
first
actriz e
guest. She's an
influencer y
actress
se
and she
enfoca
would
en
like
vivir
to
nuestras
transmit
vidas,
us
hábitos de vida
conscious life habits and
100%
sustainable.
Ella es
Love it.
Raíza
She is Raitza
Brasileira.
Ratilieri
¿De
from
verdad?
Brazil. So
Vamos
let's
para
go
la tierra
to the
de la
Zamba land.
samba, primeramente con Milena Ribeiro,
Milena Ribeiro
Junior
from Junior
Achievement
Achievement
Brasil.
Brazil
Con
is going to
samba,
be there.
vamos
Let's
a
go to
sonar
Brazil. There, come on.
adelante.
Muito obrigada, Eliana.
Eliana.
Agora falando com 25 países
Now
numa
I'm
ilha especial, falando com pessoas do Brasil. Muito prazer, eu sou Milena Ribeiro, sou líder de parcerias na NAU Achievement Brasil e estou muito honrada de estar com vocês
and I'd
e fazer
love
com que vocês
to you
conheçam
to get to
também
know the
o
kind
que
of
é o nosso
things
país,
we
como que a
do
gente faz muito
down
barulho
here. The
aqui
person I'm
também.
going to ask to talk
Os
to
dois vou
us,
chamar
she's
para conversar
very
hoje.
special.
Ela é
Uh,
muito especial para gente,
those from
principalmente.
Brazil
Nós,
probably
a galera do Brasil,
know her from
conhece ela
some
como
soap
Bela
operas.
Coração,
She has
Soraya ou
played many
qualquer
different
outro
roles, but
personagem
today
incrível que ela
she
já
is
fez. Mas
here
hoje
today
ela
in
está
her
aqui na
first
sua melhor
best
versão,
version.
simplesmente raiz.
Raisa
Ela é
Brasileira, she's an
ela é
entrepreneur, an
empreendedora e como se
actress,
não
and
bastasse,
an
ela usa sua força
environmentalist.
e
She
conhecimento em
tries to
sustentabilidade
make
para
her audience
conscientizar o
aware
mundo.
about the
Quando
environment.
ela postou nas redes sociais que
She
estava
said
indo
that she
palestrar no NAU
didn't
Fest,
know
ela
why she
colocou que não
had been
sabia
invited
o
to
porquê do
participate
convite. Para a
in
gente
our
é
NAU
óbvio.
Fest. But
Quando
as
ela
soon as she
começar a
starts
falar, vocês
talking,
também
you'll
vão ter
realize
certeza.
why
Eu
it
espero que
makes
ela
so much
entenda que
sense.
negritude e
So
ousadia são
she's
o kit
really the
perfeito para
perfect
mudar o mundo.
person to
E é por
change
isso
the
que ela vai
world, and
estar
we are
aqui
going
e a gente vai
to
ter esse momento com
listen
ela.
to her
Com vocês,
now. Raisa Bratiglieri is with us. Oh, Milena, thank you so
Maravilhoso, de
much
coração. Eu
for.
estou muito
Um,
feliz de estar aqui. E eu queria, na verdade, começar parabenizando os jovens, todos os
I'd
jovens
like
que estarem
to
aqui.
say
Eu,
hi
na
to
verdade,
all
tenho
the young people.
uma crença na minha vida de que nós somos a soma das pessoas com quem a gente convive, e não só presencialmente, fisicamente, mas daquilo que a gente consome, do que a gente se alimenta, ainda mais nessa época de rede social. E quando você está em ambientes com
When you
pessoas
are in an environment,
que você não admira, a única
i-
coisa que sobra para você é força de vontade. E aí você vai ter que ter
i-
muita
if
força
you
de
don't
vontade
admire those who are there, all
para
that is left for you is to try
perceber
harder, right?
você está em pé
So I'd like
como
to
ser
share.
humano, você se
Uh,
inspira e eu acho que você começa a ter mais fé em você também, que
you
para mim é
start
muito
trusting
importante.
yourself more,
Os
and
jovens
I'm going to start
para
talking
falar
about
sobre
sustainability
sustentabilidade, essa
today.
palavra que está na moda agora.
I'll try
Mas eu vou
to
começar me apresentando,
convey to you the idea of why sustainability is so important for me. My name is Raíssa. I'm 24 years old. I live in Rio de Janeiro. I was born in a city, a country town in the state of Rio de Janeiro. I came to Rio de Janeiro, and when I became 19, more or less, I was hired by a very large TV network in Brazil. And I remember that in those days, that in the network, they were somehow removing all plastic cups, and they were giving us collapsible cups from the dressing rooms and the film set. And at the same time, they in Rio and Sao Paulo, they were passing laws that forbade the use of plastic straws. And I thought, well, in this world, there are so many things that should be improved, that should be better, and they are concerned with plastic straws. That doesn't make very much sense. Then I decided to read more, to study, to research. And there is a quote that says, information is the first step towards change. To know about things makes a really big difference. So I started reading the subject and I get to know the following. A plastic comes from oil and is a non-renewable material. Every time we go into the sea, we somehow prospecting for oil, we leave holes. Imagine that if you go to the doctor and have to undergo some tests, some holes were left in your body. That's what we do with Mother Earth. So it takes a long time to extract oil. It pollutes the atmosphere. There are CO2 emissions. And then we are going to use a straw for maybe 5 minutes. That's absurd because after 5 minutes, we throw it away and it pollutes our environment. And it takes 400 years to be recycled. So a plastic straw can go to the manholes. It can be eaten as if it were food by sea creatures. So imagine you use it for 5 minutes, throw it away, and cause huge problems. Once I saw an interview, and this young man said that trash is a design mistake. He gave the example of ice cream. We eat ice cream and in 10 minutes it's over, but the ice cream package is made of plastic. So it's a very silly product chain. And for example, in this case, we see people that have created things. This cup, this glass is made out of cassava. And it says, I was once a cassava. So there are infinite possibilities around us of companies that can solve environmental problems and companies that are focused on sustainability. And those companies, those enterprises will be the future. So we have to start. I started thinking about that. What about creating an enterprise or a company that could include those kind of technologies? I'm going to continue telling you about my history. I researched, I studied, and my sister, who plays a very important role in this story, she is an engineer, an environmental engineer. She came to live in Rio for some time with me, and we started talking about that.
do lado direito.
And I told
A gente
her
sentou pra
that
conversar.
I
E eu
was
contei pra ela que eu estava me descobrindo
uh,
bastante,
I,
não
that
só
I was
como
kind of
uma
becoming an
pessoa
environmentalist, that I was using collapsible
mas
caps and I
sim,
didn't want
nós
to use
na
plastic
na época estava
straws
muito
and
mais
doing a few
nós
things. And my
discussões
sister
e ela
told
um dia
me,
falou uma frase que eu nunca me esqueci na vida,
living has an
que é:
impact. That's what
"Viver
she told
gera
me.
impacto".
We are here, we
Não tem
are
como.
living
A
here,
vida
and we are
está gerando impacto.
generating or
A gente botando
creating
roupa, a gente
impacts
fazendo
when you
isso, a
go
gente
to the
conversando, a
toilet,
gente
when we
comendo.
eat.
A gente gera
So
impacto no meio ambiente e não só no meio ambiente, na vida das pessoas, né, isso é um termo muito mais
I
profundo se a
remember
gente
that in
quiser.
those days,
E eu lembro que
I
na
thought
época
a lot about
isso me
that.
bateu muito
And
forte
we
e a gente
two
conversou,
decided
e a gente decidiu nós
that,
2 tentarmos
that
gerar
we
o impacto
should
mais
try
positivo
to
que a gente
impact
conseguia no meio
environment
ambiente.
in the most possible
E
possible the best possible way.
e aí, é claro que na realidade que dava do que
I
podia,
started
a gente
doing
decidiu,
it with
comecei
myself.
por mim.
Our
A
idea
nossa ideia
was,
era a gente,
let's
começar
change our
mudando os nossos
habits
hábitos
and
antes
let's
mesmo
share
e
about it with
compartilhar isso com as
others
pessoas para
so
inspirar,
that
para
we
trocar,
can
compartilhar, enfim,
share
coisas
our
do nosso
everyday
dia a dia.
lives. This
E
became much
se tornou
larger
muito
than what we
maior
had
do que eu até
imagined.
mesmo imaginava. O comecei por mim. Eh,
I'm going to
e
share
aí
with
agora eu vou
you
contar
a
rapidamente
few
algumas
things that
desse.
I
Vai ser
started
nada aqui,
changing in my life
mas
and the
assim,
things that
vão
we
ser várias das coisas que a
changed.
gente transformou e que a gente impactou e que as pessoas começaram a transformar também.
I would like to talk
Não
about
menstruam, mas eu não tô
menstruation.
contando que eu tirei o plástico da minha menstruação.
One
E
of
foi a
the
coisa
best
mais maravilhosa que eu
decisions
fiz na
I
minha
ever
vida.
made in my
Se eu
life is
tivesse
the following. A
nascido
woman
com
produces
750
150 kilograms of
de lixo
waste
dentro da
during
minha
her
menstrual,
menstrual life. Just one woman. Imagine all women in the world. But
mas tem
nowadays,
3
we can
no
use a
país
menstrual
que é
cup
doador
that
menstrual, e não só
is
ele,
cheap,
que é muito mais
is
econômico,
hygienic,
muito mais
is
higiênico para quem está
sustainable.
acostumado com o
It
corpo,
can
muito
be
mais sustentável
reusable
para quem é
after
reutilizado
you
para
clean
trabalhar e
it.
usar ele durante
So
muito
I'd
tempo.
like to
Então,
tell
assim,
all
só dica
you
válida,
girls,
gente,
try it.
por favor, porque
There
é
are some
muito
women
e
that don't adapt to
algumas
it,
mulheres eu conheço que não se
but
adaptaram,
then
mas
there are those
tem essa
reusable
coisa
absorbents,
uma coisa
cloth
que tem muito
absorbents,
eu vejo no setor
panty
masculino,
or
que eu
absorbent
acho que isso vai me
panties.
ajudar e servir muito. A
Another
outra coisa
important
é a compostagem caseira. Eu vou começar
point
explicando primeiro, porque eu
is
acho que tem
home
algumas pessoas que não
composting.
sabem
Home
que a
composting
compostagem é
is
transformadora
transforming because
também.
we can
Na
get
nossa
in
vida, na nossa criação
contact
caseira
with
dentro de casa
soil
e no
is
meio
great for
ambiente,
the environment.
demais.
At
Hã,
home,
a gente em
over
casa, que
50%
normalmente
of
produz
all the
mais de
trash we
50%
produce is organic
é lixo
waste.
orgânico. E a
And
compostagem é basicamente a gente dá o destino correto para o
in
lixo que a gente
general,
tem no ambiente.
those
Então, assim, ele vai para
that
biodiversidade,
organic waste
para
goes
natureza.
to,
Isso é uma
or
das
all the
coisas que
trash
ajuda
goes
muito
to
a gente.
those
Eu queria muito que todo
landfills.
mundo tivesse uma composteira em casa. Por quê? Tem algumas pessoas que me perguntam, e eu também na época
I
perguntei, fui pesquisar.
researched about
Cara,
it
mas
and I
é,
discovered
o
that
lixo orgânico ele
organic
vai se decompor muito
waste
mais rápido do que um plástico, por exemplo. Então,
decomposes
qual que é o
much
problema do lixo
faster
do
than
aterro sanitário?
inorganic one.
Que é o que
But
acontece
there
aqui
are
no Brasil.
many, many
Tem
problems
muitos problemas no
regarding
aterro sanitário. E não é só
landfills
o meu lixo, né? É o meu lixo e de
because
todas
I'm
as
not talking about my only
comunidades
my
que eu bairro.
waste, but the
A
waste
primeira coisa,
produced by my neighborhood, my
o
city, my
lixo
country.
orgânico, ele já produz esse
When
líquido
we
que vai perder.
avoid throwing organic
E esse
waste
líquido no
into
aterro
the
sanitário,
rest of
com
the
plástico,
trash
fraldas, com
and it
absorventes,
doesn't go anymore to
absorventes,
landfills, we
ele
can
vai
have a compost
levar,
bin,
ele
and
carrega
there
plástico,
we
pode
can use that soil for other purposes as our plants, etc.
isso
And we
normalmente vai ser
avoid
pra gente.
all that
Outra coisa,
liquid, all
no
that
a
leachate
decomposição a
that
céu
is
aberto,
created in the
ela
landfill and that
prejudicada,
contaminates, that
não só o
pollutes
gás
the
carbônico,
soil, the
como o gás
atmosphere,
metano,
the air,
que
etc.
é um dos gases mais
And
poluentes da
certainly that is
atmosfera e
responsible
um dos
for higher
influenciadores da
CO2
estufa,
emissions.
para além de todo
And
esse
it
lixo
also
que pode
attracts
atrair animais
vector
presos
animals that
que
can
podem causar
cause
doenças
diseases.
também. Então,
So
é
having
maravilhoso, ainda mais quando
a
você tira a sua
compost
terra
bin
e
is
coloca suas
just
plantas, é
wonderful.
incrível.
One more
Outra coisa
thing
que eu
I'd like
botei,
to
só
mention.
um adendo que eu coloquei
I
aqui para lembrar
cannot
os
have
pais
a
que,
compost
não
bin, or I don't
separeira,
like
era
to
uma
have a
coisa.
compost bin.
Comecei
Well,
separando
a
o
good
lixo.
start is to sort
Isso já
your
é muita
trash
coisa,
because
sério.
you'll become
Porque
aware regarding how much you produce, what kind of things you have as trash in your house. So you become a more careful consumer.
Com o que você vai produzir.
I should
E,
also say
uma coisa que é
that,
legal de dizer, que pelo menos é o que eu acredito,
let's suppose that there is
tem
no
coleta de lixo na minha
garbage
cidade.
collection in my
No meu
street
bairro,
or neighborhood or
a
whatever.
gente
Certainly,
vem
this is
para
not
lavar isso
done in all
e
countries around the world or in all
cidade,
cities in
porque
the
não
different
é
countries.
produzida muito.
But that's something we should think very much with you. We should think about the next time we vote for a politician to be part of the government. Today, when I give conferences or interviews, they ask me, "What do you do to be sustainable?" I say I have changed my routine. I have started changing small habits. For example, when I want to pee, I don't do it. I do it in the shower because it's more ecological. When I brush my teeth, I close the tap. So those are very little things, very little habits that I have changed. And nowadays, I don't even realize they have become part of my life. This changed my routine. As human beings, we get used to things, good things and bad things. And that's what I thought at that time. I'm going to try, even in the very small habits, daily habits, to change, to do them in a different way. And this I apply it in all areas of my life. And there is a company called Less Trash in Brazil. She's an entrepreneur, and this woman says that it's better to have many people doing a little than a few doing a lot. I think this is just great. That's a sentence Fay Cortez says, the owner of that company. When I started studying and researching about this subject and what I had to understand better, in those days I didn't eat red meat, I didn't eat beef. When I started understanding better about the meat industry, I gave up eating all kinds of meat, even fish. I became a vegetarian. That was about 5 years ago. I have tried to be vegan last month. Once again, I gave it a try, but I couldn't. So it's very important for us to recognize your limits. If you cannot become a vegan or a vegetarian, well, sort out your trash. Close the tap when you are brushing your teeth.
Porque eu não quero estar aqui num lugar de tipo, nossa, ela não
I
erra.
don't want you to see me as perfect. Everyone is subject to committing mistakes. But we should focus on trying to identify the impacts we cause in the environment. As I said before, it's much better to have many people doing a little than a few doing a lot. Let's give you an example about something we have done 5 years ago. It's not such a long time, is it? Every time I went to a restaurant in those days and I asked for a vegetarian option, there wasn't. Nowadays, it's very seldom you'll find a restaurant that doesn't offer a vegetarian option. Why? Because there are many vegetarians. So people started asking for vegetarian dishes and options, and the restaurant owners realized that it was good business offering in their menus some vegetarian or vegan options.
Espaço no menu para os vegetarianos e para os veganos.
All that I have been saying here is the following, that consumption or our consumption is a political act. And that's
Isso é
very
muita
important.
coisa, e isso é muito importante.
We
A gente
should be
consegue
aware
poupar
where we
consequentemente os nossos,
how
a
we
gente
use our
acaba
money,
trocando valores
what
daquela
kind of
empresa. Aí eu
things
estava
we buy with
lendo
it.
um
And there
blog
is a
muito
very good
incrível,
book
executivo, que eu
called
gosto
The
muito
Manager and the
americano,
Monk.
que falava sobre uma coisa chamada
And
percepção
there
seletiva,
it says the following.
que é mais ou menos isso. Por
He
exemplo,
talks
eu
about
raspei meu cabelo aqui,
selective
isso,
perception.
aqui. Eu
Look
raspei meu
at
cabelo
me. I
intencionalmente.
shaved my hair
E existem muitas mulheres com
because
cabelo
I had to
raspado no
play
meio.
a
Só que
certain
eu não tinha
role.
preparação para perceber
Until
esses
that
processos.
moment, I
Na
had
minha
never
mente,
realized that there were
estava
many
aberta para
women that
isso.
did the same.
Depois que eu
My mind
raspei meu
wasn't
cabelo,
open to that.
comecei a ver
After I did
muita
it,
mulher no
I
mundo fazendo
realized
o
that there
mesmo.
were many
Eu
people
também
doing
hoje
it.
observo isso. Eu acho que
And
é
that's what I
exatamente
like to
disso que
share
eu
with
quero
you.
falar. A gente só
We
precisa mudar a
should
nossa lupa em relação
change
à
our
sexualidade.
awareness. We
Entender
should
que a gente tem
realize
impacto
that
sobre as coisas que a
everything
gente
we
faz.
do has
Quando
an
isso faz parte
impact.
da gente, isso consequentemente vai
And
estar nos
we
nossos
should
sentimentos, isso vai
adapt
fazer parte
this
dos
new
valores,
way of
da
seeing
visão, da nossa
things
empresa.
because
E foi
it will
exatamente o que
become
aconteceu
part
comigo
of
com a
our
minha mãe. Quando
values.
isso tomou uma proporção muito maior do que a gente imaginava, impactou a vida de muita gente. Isso foi incrível, foi maravilhoso.
With my sister,
E aí
we
foi uma
started
surpresa
a company that
que
had a
logo no
great
Brasil
impact, and that was wonderful.
a estudar com a
We
gente hoje
made
da marca,
collapsible
que é
caps,
dobrável,
chopsticks,
raquete,
kits to
pano,
refuse single-use
bag
plastic with foldable forks, knives,
os
spoons,
potezinhos assim para
napkins, eco
colocar,
bags,
confeccionar,
small
né, para
plastic
a
containers
granela.
for bulk
E
purchases.
com todo esse
And
estudo que a
so
gente começou a ter,
we
né, que foi nosso primeiro
discovered,
passo para a mudança, eu também
or
descobri ainda mais por ser
personally,
atriz
I
e viver
discovered as
no
an
mundo
actress,
glamuroso, né,
eh,
e
I
ser
live in a world
acostumado
that's
com
very
o lugar da moda,
fashionable, and I
entendi
realized
também
that
o uso
fashion
da
can
moda
be
que é
very
muito poluente
polluting.
e,
And
enfim,
oftentimes
quando a
nobody
gente fala
speaks
sobre.
about that.
E quando eu
When
descobri isso,
I
eu comecei a fazer
realized
uma
that
vida
that
de
was
conscientizando,
so,
e na medida que eu
I
nem foi
started
conscientizando, é tipo meio que passando
sharing with
informação assim,
people
galera, olha
that
só, eu não sabia disso, eu
information.
descobri isso, eu fiquei
There
contando
are
para vocês.
many brands that
Tem muita marca que
cause
agrada muito
great
bem gente, e
pollution
nunca
that
tinha falado sobre. E
degrade the
aí eu mesma
environment.
criou, quero
So
ser
with my
pro,
sister, we
trouxe isso
created
pra semente.
this brand,
E
Quero
assim,
Ser Fro. I'd like to be a
era
seed. And we
exercício
wanted to have an impact on all
produção,
the
assim,
production
a que dá o menos
process, all the
possível, né,
chain, so
para
to
conseguir
say.
gerar uma roupa. Como a gente falou,
We
viver gera
we
impacto,
decided
então isso
to
aí gerar uma
create
roupa
a
estilosa,
line of
como
clothing
reduzir
with
ao máximo a
low
cadeia de produção e
impact.
gerar menos impacto possível. Então lembra que lá atrás eu coloquei aquele
You
slide falando sobre
remember that previously I
resiliência,
showed a
comportamentos mais
slide about
lábios, sociais? A gente
pollution
pegou
and air
cada
pollution,
item
water
dessa
pollution,
lista.
etc.
No Fast
What
Fashion, o
we
problema
decided
é
to
os
do
códigos,
was to
questão de
create a
trazer as pessoas
line
para o
of
comprar, porque a gente
clothes that
produzia
were
sob medida para elas.
customized. Even
A
the
embalagem
package was
final toda era
done
pensada especificamente
using
para não gerar lixo,
seed
tudo
paper
de origem vegetal. A contaminação de
and
rios e mares
also
é uma coisa
natural
que é muito forte
dyes.
para a indústria
We used
têxtil e a
those
gente fez toda o tingimento todo de pigmento
natural
natural.
dyes because
Eu
we
escolhi fazer
wanted
muito
to
consciente.
have
Então,
a
vamos
whole
lá. Como é
production
que
chain
acontece que
that
você transporta uma coisa
taking into account
de um produto
environmental
para o outro lugar,
impacts.
né, ainda mais. Só que isso
At the same
aumenta
time, we
e é no mesmo
realized
país, por
that
exemplo.
the
O nosso foco
footprint
era falar:
was
"Ó, a gente é brasileira, a
smaller
gente quer
when
vender no
you
Brasil".
consume
E é
products
uma coisa muito
that
importante
were
para a gente,
made in the
exatamente
country you
valorizar
live
o
in.
mercado
So we are Brazilians, we
local,
should
estar
produce what we
ali.
consume here.
E os problemas
We had
sociais,
the idea
eh,
of
a ideia que a gente teve de
valuing
valorizar a ideia que a gente
the
teve não,
whole
né, que é realmente
production
incrível, é
process.
valorizar todo o processo de
Everyone.
produção.
The
Todo mundo,
fabric,
assim,
for
do
example,
tecido para o cara
we
que
wanted to give value to the
plantou um
local producer that
diminuiu a
planted the
quantidade de
cotton.
água para produzir aquele tecido.
His
Ele vai
work
ser
should be paid
valorizado pelo trabalho
fairly.
dele, porque
On the
outras
other
gerações
hand,
depois
those
vão ter que
women
dar
that
um valor
sew or
para
stitched
pagar o
the
valor que ela
fabric
merece.
also
Então, o
must be
final
taken into
desse
account.
da marca era do produto era exatamente
We value
contemplando
then
esse tipo de produção e
all those that
valorizando o
got
processo de produção
involved in
de
the
cada mão de obra.
production process. And that
Aí eu
was
vou
an
colocar um
ad
videozinho da nossa marca.
of our company.
Pelo reflexo incansável do vai e o vem, a curva e a contracurva.
we
recentemente fez
launched a pilot
uma coleção
collection
piloto. A ideia mesmo era mais falar sobre
because what we wanted
a
to
nossa
convey
cultura,
to people was the
o quanto
idea
a
that
gente
what we
comprar
consume
e
has an
consumir
impact,
empresas com que
and we should
conectam com os nossos
really
valores, faz muito sentido para esse
sponsor
centro de
those
gravidade.
brands
Eu acho que é
that
básico.
share our
No final, eu
values,
escrevi a frase: crescer e
growing
ajudar
or
o
grow and
mundo.
help
Acho
the world
que
to grow.
sustentabilidade em si é uma palavra vaga se não está linkada com empatia,
Connection,
com consciência, com
empathy,
conexão. E eu acho que
environmental
basicamente
awareness, all
por que a
those
gente
are
está aqui,
things
sabe?
that
Para
should
sustentar um
really
ser
be
humano melhor.
taken into account. I
Sustentabilidade
do
tem a ver
believe
com
in
isso.
ourselves. I
Eu
do
acredito
believe in
nisso,
the
sabe, gente? Eu
future. I
acredito
think
no
that it's
futuro.
possible
Eu acho que dá para a
to
gente ser
create a
corajoso
better
e
to for
fazer uma
us to be
geração
better
melhor.
human beings. I
É
hope
isso que eu
that
queria dizer para vocês.
somehow
Eu espero
together
que, de alguma
we
forma,
can
a
become
gente
more
juntos comece
aware
a
and
entender que é
realize
isso que
that
a gente vai
we
ser o
are
futuro
the
amanhã
future
e
and
que a
that
gente
we
tem
can
que
start
começar e pode
today.
começar hoje.
Thank you
Muito
so much
obrigada
for
por
being
você estar
here.
aqui,
Thank you
muito
so much
obrigada
for
por
sharing
esse
with us.
momento.
Você quer falar
Obrigada a
melhor?
I
você,
am the
Fê.
one who would like to
Não, eu
thank
estou
you
muito
because
feliz. Eu
I
acho que é
think
muito
this
importante
space is
espaço para
just
todo mundo
wonderful.
conversar.
I thank you
Eu
so
sempre quis
much for
espaço para
letting me
falar
talk
sobre
about
sustentabilidade, que é algo
sustainability. I love
social
talking
que não
about
tem
art and
necessariamente como falar
sustainability. I could
é por
spend the
muito
whole
tempo,
day talking about those two
não vai
subjects.
pelo que a gente
So
conheceu.
I
Dá para falar
really
sobre
thank you so much
sustentabilidade,
for the
sustentabilidade
invitation.
com
What I
vários
wanted to
mas eu também
really
falar
was to share
mudar
with
uma
you
vida,
those little
mudar a vida
details
não
that
foi
changed my life,
simplesmente
my
oferecer para o ser humano que eu
routine,
sou
and
para
I
transformador,
became an
empreendedor
environmental
que sou.
entrepreneur. Thank
Incrível.
you
Se a
so
gente
much. We
pudesse
really
ficar o
loved
dia todo
hearing you.
conversando
We
com
could
você
spend the
também,
whole day
Mas a gente já está
hearing
ficando
your
aqui, meu ponto
ideas and your
de
enthusiasm, but we
programação.
have to move on.
Muito
So,
obrigada.
see you soon. Thank you so
E até
much.
a
Have a
próxima.
great
Até mais.
time.
Tchau,
Bye
tchau.
bye.
Beijo. Tchau, tchau. Obrigada.
Good afternoon to everyone. How are you? We're having some technical issues in the main room and in the study where Ileana is sharing with us in this main Now Fest day. So what we're going to do is to move on. Um, we're going to go back to the study with Ivan de Pineda, who is going to introduce a very important person from the social world. So, and somebody who somehow has inspired us when he was a part and he was nominated for a Nobel Prize and he won it. So uh, let's hope that we will be able to share him in that process and to say that we are part of this movement towards global peace. So let's go with you, Ivan, so that you can
Thank you very much,
introduce
Indiana.
our next
How
speaker.
wonderful
Thank you.
is the interaction that is happening in this Now Fest. That is, it's about you, the youngers. That's why we want to listen to you, because we inspire from these leaders and have the possibility to share your ideas, your worries, and your dreams. That's why we are with someone like you, believe in his future and gets ready for his future and being part of this Now Fest. Welcome, Valentina. How are you? Very good, thank you. Well, first question. Why are you in this Now Fest? Basically, I was like plunged into routine. I was feeling like that's Caroline meme with a computer. The foundation itself makes me to get out of the routine and become less mechanic and be more human and to focus again. What are your worries about or interests about your future? Well, the list is long. We have a lot of themes to talk about: climate changing, gender policies. But what I like the most for my history, it's mental health in youngers. This topic has not too much visibility. There are a lot of problems that come together with that. I think, I hope that the youngers may speak uh, from this. Do you think that the networks help those topics, or maybe the topics are treated like in a banal way? Maybe we just hear the media, and I believe that youngers that we, the youngers with these technologies, have more presence. Do you feel that there are more interaction to understand the different problems and to know that this happens not only in the place you live, but also everywhere? And you also feel, yes, you also feel accompanied. The others feel the same way. I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. So let's go ahead. So you would like to work in platforms that really work this these problems. Did you have any ideas that how you would like to be these platforms, networks, how to attack this problem? Not at the moment. I am willing to, but I have no ideas. I would like to form in this topic. I study communications and doing a master combining psychology, cognitive psychology, and informatics and communication. I would like to study in this field and to build a project. I will give you a chance, you, Valentina, decide the decide how 2023 Now Fest is going to be designed. The most I liked from Now Fest, there are entrepreneurs from all kinds, not only uh, from companies, but I would bring musicians, singers, owners of ONGs, and some present instance, and to get to know people that I knew from the internet. Would you like an own office on site and people from different world from different places could come to this Now Fest and meet each other and interact each other? Yes, yes, absolutely. And for example, see somebody from the chat and say, "Hey, hello, it's you."
ponerle una especie como de
Do you
figura
have dreams?
corpórea a muchas cosas que
Yes.
suceden en
I
la
think my
virtualidad.
dream summarizes in this phrase, simple phrase. I would like to, in some years, to work what I like the most, to get home and before sleep and say, I didn't leave the world the same way I found it this morning. I made a change. I changed it and changed it for better. I would like to be more like these speakers and that I can see myself in the future like a mini Valentine and to get to know me and hear me and say to me, okay, I'm going to put on my batteries. We in Argentina say to put on batteries and to pursue that dream. What are you doing for this dream to come true? I am a volunteer from Junior Achiever. I'm working in the foundation. I'm trying to study in my profession. I love communication and give a little bit about my history and try to inspire and have empathy with the others. Balance to this camera, give a message to thousand people in all this region that are participating in this NAU Fest. Something that you want to really say? We're a lot. We are privileged to give us this opportunity, this event and education. I think that there is a phrase going around in Twitter and TikTok, and it makes you wake up and get up from bed. You have to turn into the person you needed when you were a child. So this is what I have always present, and the rest of the youngest repeat. Valen, thank you very much for participating with us, for your message, for your willings, for your dreams, and wish you a bit luck. And sure, we're gonna see each other in another NAU Fest or in any other platform that your achievements do. We're leaving this NAU Fest a great time, and take note of what we're all hearing. This is inspiration in pure state. Now we're going to present a speaker. This leader combined values and put in actions to help the most people who need it, developing concepts that are revolutionize the world because of its impact. Professor Muhammad Yunus was born in Bangladesh in 1940 when it was an Indian territory. He had the opportunity to study in the US and then come back to his childhood Bangladesh. And after the independence of its Bangladesh, he lived with peasants, and poverty was always there because left the poor out of the economic systems. The banks wouldn't give money to the people, and that generated a vicious circle of poverty. And Yunus created the concept of microcredit to help peasants from his country. He made a list of 42 people that owed less than $27. Each of them received $27 under the condition that they work and give back the money when they could. He carried out this idea in 1972 and created the Grameen Bank, and to people who could not afford, could not get a credit. It is known as Bank of the Poor. Gave credit to one of thousand.
El banco funciona en la actualidad, escuchen, con más de 22.000 empleados que trabajan en las calles de casi 38.000 de
This
las
bank
68.000
gives
aldeas y
credits
pueblos de Bangladesh y concede préstamos a más de 2
money
millones de
to all
personas,
the people.
de los que el 94% son mujeres pobres, y escuchen, con una tasa
In
de
October
devolución del
2006,
97%.
Yunus received the
En
Nobel
octubre de
Prize of Peace for this
2006, Mohamed Yunus
fair
recibió el Premio Nobel
economy
de la Paz
and for
por esta
more
lucha
vulnerable
por
sectors
economía
of the
justa
economy.
para los sectores más vulnerables
We're
de la
going to
sociedad.
present
Es un
Professor
honor
Muhammad
presentar
Yunus.
en exclusiva en esta NAU Fest al profesor Mohamed Yunus. Professor, welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you. I wish I could talk about happy things, but unfortunately, circumstances that we have around us do not allow us to talk about happy things anymore because the environment in which we are living is getting worse and worse, and our life is at stake. So we have to talk about it. So sorry that I have to talk about all these terrible things that are happening around us. It was happening for a long time. It's not just happening today. Over years, it's happening. And we know that the global warming, we are very familiar with it. Everybody talks about global warming, how quickly it's happening, and what are the commitments the governments are making. They will make net zero economy by year such and such. They're making all kinds of promises in a future date. But the future date is far, far away from what it needs to be. That urgency part in those commitments are missing. And unfortunately, we're leaving things in the hands of the government. Government is the institution which has to carry all of us together to make things happen for the nation, for the world, and so on. That's important. But that can happen only if we participate in it. If we just leave it to the government and merrily we do the things we keep on doing, and if they try to make us change our ways of doing, we get mad at the government and say, next time we'll be out of the government. We'll put somebody else to do that. So the governments are not trying to change you too much because they are afraid that will annoy you. So things remain as it is. So what we have to do is to come back to us individuals, what we mean by the big problem that we have around the world that is capturing the whole attention, but at the same time, not giving the urgency that is needed in the process. We want to put the urgency part into the process with you and me together. And this is how we can proceed. Literally, when we talk about global warming, it's a situation that the world is on fire. Our house is burning. If you think our world is our house is burning, literally burning. It's not something exaggeration. Our house is burning, but what I'm complaining that inside the house where we live, we are having parties, celebrations, enjoying our life, and talking about a further enjoyment ahead of us, ignoring that the house itself is on fire. We are talking about us, we're celebrating about our successes in businesses, we are talking about our successes in technology, how the world is changing because of the technology, all the great achievements are happening around us, and yes, achievements in our lifestyle that we have made it so easy, so enjoyable, and so on. We do everything inside the house, celebrating all the successes. But we are not talking about that the house is on fire. And if you realize that the house is on fire, the first thing, our responsibility would be the first thing to go out of the house and stop the fire. If you don't stop the fire, we'll be all burned out. We'll be finished. But we are not taking this connection between the two, fire and our lifestyle, how we do that. So this is what we have to concentrate on, how to stop that fire. Celebration can come later after we have stopped the fire. So our attention is to create a world where there is no global warming. That's in simple word it is. No global warming in the world that we live in. So how do we do that? Do we just promise that, okay, by 2030, our global temperature we will allow only up to go up to that much, or 2050, or 2090, or year 2100, something will happen. We will completely come to the 1.5 degrees Celsius, not allowed to go beyond that. This is too far away to talk about. It has to be closer. It has to be done quickly, because as it gets longer and longer, world situation gets worse and worse. Even today, all our researchers telling it is hardly 10 years left before we reach the 1.5 degrees Celsius. Just 10 years. In 10 years, we'll be reaching that. So if you plan about 2050 or 2000 something else, 2300 or something, this is too far. By that time, the game will be all over. The house will be all burned out, finished. So this is our responsibility to make sure we do that. Where does this global warming come from? Is it something supernatural power is playing tricks with us, that creating fire for us? No, there's no supernatural power who is doing that. It's me, it's you, it's us. We're creating this global warming. That realization has to be made very clear. It's not something from outside, it is something from inside. Us who are complaining about global warming are the creator of the global warming. If we change ourselves, if we change our way of doing things, if we change our business methodology, if we change our consumption pattern and so on and so forth, as per the necessity of bringing down the global warming to remain way below 1.5 degrees Celsius, even why not 0 degrees Celsius? It's possible. But we have to change our habits. So ultimately, it's us individuals who are responsible for that global warming. Otherwise, we'll be all blown up, we'll be all finished, we'll be all gone, our existence will be over. So this is not what we want to happen right now or anytime. To make sure that we survive on this planet with dignity, with happiness, and share this planet with not only with our generation, the next generation, and generation after. Today, next generation may not see their life fully lived on this planet. Their next generation will not probably survive on this planet anymore. It's so close, but we are not behaving as if it's close like that. So global warming is one issue we have to grapple right now. And there's another big issue, as big as global warming, but nobody pays attention to it because it touches the big guys, is wealth concentration. All the wealth we are generating in the world, all the things that we celebrate, and this wealth goes into the hands of only few people. The rest of the people remain at the bottom of the income level. This is a very strange economic machine. Economic machine is created to mop up all the wealth and push it up to in the hands of few people. And it's a continuous process. So no matter how much progress you make, all the fruits of progress goes into the hands of only a handful of people. That's a wrong machine. So we have to build a new machine. The machine which doesn't mop up and send it up, and a machine which does the reverse. It mops up all the wealth of the world and brings it down to the people where the people live. So the 99% will be sharing the wealth that is being produced in the world. 99% of the wealth will be with the 99% of the people. As simple as that. And it's possible. It's not a kind of thing that's impossible. Economy doesn't work like that. It does work like that if you want them to work like that. That's why we talk about the social business, we talk about the entrepreneurship, all the things that we have been doing, and demonstrating that it is possible to create a world where there will be no wealth concentration at all. Is by choice. It's not somebody coming and hitting us on the head that you have to do like this, or somebody else is hitting us on the head. It is our own choice. By making choices appropriately, we'll do that. And the third one, which is destroying the whole world, is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is coming in a big way and removing the people from the workplace. The artificial intelligence is a very strange kind of technology that we are inventing now. We are creating more and more. That they become smarter than human being each day. The process is one, they call it machine learning. They keep on learning, but they never forget. You see, that's the dangerous part. They never forget, but keep on learning new things. And human being has a limitation how much they can learn. Machine don't have any limitation. So now that they are coming to become equal to human intelligence, and they go beyond human intelligence, they can do much faster, much safer, much improved version of whatever we are doing. So they will take up everything we do, and it will be cheaper than we can do, human being can do. So the machines will take over all the activities in the world. Human beings will be removed from the workplace. So what will the world like? The world will be a place where human beings will become garbage, waste. It has no purpose. It has no work. So do we want to go to that world where human beings will have become the garbage on this planet with no purpose, no role for them? I don't think we want to do that by our own creation. We produce that thing. So what I keep repeating that the present civilization is on the path of on the path taking us to the suicidal direction. All the human beings will be removed from this planet either by global warming or a combination of global warming and wealth concentration and artificial intelligence and so on and so forth. That combination will make us disappear from this planet. We don't want to go that way. So my appeal is, let's create a new civilization. Now, we don't have much time left. Let's create a new civilization before the existing civilization, the current civilization, destroys us completely. They're destroying us, but soon they will destroy us completely. On top of this, what is going on the planet because of our behavior pattern, because of our institutional design, because of the economic thinking that we put behind, is all fault of our thinking. Nothing else. We had the wrong thinking behind all our activity. If we redesign our economic system, if we rethink our ideas of businesses and so on, we create a new system, which will create the world of 3 zeros. And that's as simple as that. So we have to address that, go back, where we went wrong, how to correct it, how to make a new system, make it happen that it doesn't repeat, create global warming and wealth concentration and massive unemployment for people and so on. So we correct that. And that's the direction we have to go. In order to do that, we have to create a new civilization. So we create a new civilization before the current civilization destroys us completely. It has destroyed a lot of it already, but completely. Before it does completely, we have to do that. Transition part is right now, and that's the urgency part we are talking about. And to emphasize it, we have seen during the coronavirus attack, we saw how helpless the whole world became. Showed that all these machines, all these ideas, all those technologies didn't work for us. We are helpless in the hand of it. And how greedy we were. Each country tried to monopolize those vaccines that came into the market. Only 10 countries in the world monopolized the 90% of the vaccines produced. 10 countries monopolizing all the vaccines because they are the rich countries. They not only bought all the production of the vaccine companies, they bought it 4 times, 5 times more. And we have started talking about the global, this is vaccine apartheid, monopolizing things. They are the one who were the superior, they get everything, others will be deprived. We were talking about creating a patent-free vaccine. So the patent is removed, anybody can produce it anywhere. They wanted to make money. Vaccine companies want to make tons of money out of that. And they did. They were so busy making money, they couldn't care less how many people are dying. And that's not the kind of work we want. So I've been talking about creating a social business pharmaceutical company. A social business pharmaceutical company will be a company which is not interested in making profit for their shareholders. That's what the social business is. Social business is driven by social ideas, social motives, and make it a business, sustainable business. It doesn't want to create surplus for the shareholders. Surplus is created, but it will be plowed back into the business too, so that it become more efficient, more technology oriented, and make things happen in a cheaper way, in a better way, and so on. So that's the kind of pharmaceutical company. And once you start with the pharmaceutical company, we can address those energy companies instead of going to the fossil fuel, but create renewable energy by social business renewable companies and so on. And now another thing came out in a big way and shaking up the whole world is the Ukraine war. So what kind of world will be left with after all this Ukraine war and the possibility of the Third World War, possibility of the nuclear confrontation? What is it that we're waiting for? So the time is appropriate, time is right. We take the step, we make the commitment. We have to make a new civilization before the current civilization destroys it completely. All these are the signs of the old civilization killing us from all directions. We don't want to be killed by all these things that are happening around us. We want to create a new civilization which will be safe, which will be enjoyable, which will in which wealth will be shared by everybody, not concentrated by few people. It will not be driven by greed. Today's world is driven by greed. So we'll replace greed with humanity, sharing and caring. Will bring humanity into economics. Today, humanity has no place in economics. It's a robot. It's a robotic science. You have to become a robot of making money-making robots. Today's economy is designed assuming human beings are money-making robots. So we turn into money-making robots. So we have to rediscover ourselves as human beings to make things happen differently. And we create a 3-0 world to make it happen. And I'm inviting young people to create 3-0 clubs, to proceed with ideas and actions to create this 3-0 world. And one of the first things each member of the 3-0 club will be doing, turn himself or herself into 3-0 person, meaning that each person will not contribute anything in global warming as a person, will not contribute anything in global wealth concentration as a person, will not contribute in artificial intelligence as a person. So each person will become a 3-0 person, and if you become a 3-0 person, you'll create a 3-0 family. If you can succeed in creating 3-0 family, we'll create a 3-0 village, 3-0 city, and 3-0 country. Why not? It begins with us. It begins with me and with you. And that's the direction we have to give. That's the idea of creating a new civilization. Let's make it happen. Thank you very much.
Let's make it happen. Let's start with you. Thanks a lot for Professor Juno for being here. So inspiring to have you here and listen to you. It's been a luxury to have all these people here in the last NAU Fest day, and also to share and to listen everything he told us with a Nobel Prize, his thoughts, his virtues. It is a true gift for all of us today. So, well, we're completely alive. We can have some technical issues, but now we're okay. So let's go to the chat because all my boys and girls are there. We want to see what is going on. How are you enjoying? What's the most thing you liked here? So I'm going to read you now. Hello, everyone. Hello, Pao. It's obvious how technology overrated humanity. This is something that Albert Einstein said. Well, yes, I like his philosophy about the 3 zeros. Well, global warming is another issue. Yes, Evelyn, thank you for being here with us. Write to me, please. I want to read to you, and I want to know from which country you're seeing us. Let's see, Joanna from Salvador. Okay, I like the idea of the 3 zeros. We're making some notes today, so please. Thanks to Gabriela Correa. Well, artificial intelligence sometimes isn't necessary because it can foment some laziness. Well, thank you, Melissa, for your thoughts. We have other comments about Jennifer. I think that everything we're listening to and you are commenting, we can see the similarities and the differences. Thanks, Edwin, for your comment. We also have Naomi there. Well, lots and lots of young people connected there. We have our transmission in YouTube. Please, could you please send a link by the end of the workshop? Well, we will see if we can do that. Amazing talks. Well, thank you. Sophia, Daily. Well, wait. Don't go so fast, please. We're trying to find some sponsorships. Gabrielle is there. Well, maybe you can get into contact to the Junior Americas. Thank you, Valentina. Says it was really inspiring. Thanks a lot. Remember to use the hashtag NAU Fest. I want to see you there in the social networkings doing your impact. And of course, you can add the JJ Americas. Of course, in the chat, you can create new friends. You can share your music. Of course, we want to create a new playlist with your tastes. You can also do that through the chat. I love it. I love it. So, thank you. All this event, everything that's happening. I read in the chat that you're looking for sponsors. Well, what do you think if we also say thank you to these huge sponsors we have been having for a long time, and they are the responsibles for making this happen. So we're going to see the following video thanks to them. Thanks to all of our sponsors and for you that you are here watching us. If you have any idea or you feel aligned with some of our sponsors, you can feel free to do the proposal of your project, or maybe you can join the team, our work team, and to be able to grow. So this is a huge community in which we are all connected thanks to all the brands that have been joining us. And very especially, we want to thank our main sponsor, which is the Educative Foundation from the Project Managing Education Institute, for creating in this fest and to thousands of teenagers listening to us and enjoy from these talks. And in order to move on, I have the honor to present a panel, a very special panel, which is pushed by the Educative Foundation from the Project Managing Institute. So we're going there to Joradi Cardoso from the Panama Canal. And this panel is called The Work of Your Dreams. Let's go there, Javi, here in the Now Fest. Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be here with you, depending on where you are this afternoon, this night, this day. And here we have a very important topic, which is your dream job? My name is Jarobi Cardoso. I'm from Panama. I'm a volunteer from here. Long time ago, I started here, and I am a regional mentor from a region which is called 13th North, from Mexico to Colombia, and it includes the Caribbean. And today I'm very, very well accompanied here because I have two stars here that now I would ask them to introduce themselves so that we can keep on talking about how to get our new dream job. Julissa, would you like to introduce yourself? Yes, I am very happy to be here. Every activity that we have had makes me feel very well. I really like to share from my country here in República Dominicana. My name is Julissa Mateo. I am a founder from Women in Technology here. We call it STIC. We are also in Bolivia, Guatemala. In my professional part, I work as a consulting in digital transformation for the company Software One. I have been working there for some time now, and I also teach technology and innovation for the Panama Management School. So thank you for having us here. Great. When are you able to sleep? You do many, many things. What a capacity to do everything at the same time, to multitask. It makes us proud to have so many girls as you. And also we have Mariana, who is also a very interesting person. Tell us a bit about you. You're an entrepreneur. Tell us about your profile. Yes, thanks a lot for this invitation. I am very happy to be here. I am from Lima, Peru. And yes, I am a social entrepreneur. I've been doing that for 8 years. I founded an organization that is called Laboratoria, and it is an educative institute which push women who dream about a better future to accomplish their goals. We started in Peru and we have grown a lot. We're in Chile, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia. We have created 250 women, and all of them are growing and working in technology. We're changing the face of this area. So I'm very happy to be here in this panel. Thanks. I am really glad that we can see that a lot of women are changing the face of the technology. And I like that you always, that you are also in your dream job. And in order to speak about this topic, I would like to talk to you about this. Imagine that we are coming from a generation in which I don't know if all of us here in this panel, if some of you can remember, or maybe you can have your aunts or your grandparents that said that maybe you had to be a lawyer, a doctor, or typical careers. And nowadays we are in a situation in which we have many, many opportunities, some companies, businesses, and many different things that we can do. And we have the teens that are able to seek for their dream job. So if we talk to them and understand from their point of view, what is your dream job? Can you tell us what are the things you aspire that you have lived that make you think that, yes, this is my dream job, this is what I like doing? Tell us. Well, I do feel, well, right now, talking about my profession, I feel that I am in my dream job because when I was younger, I started the career. I was doing things that were not necessarily nice or they were not the job that I wanted. And once I sat and started thinking which was my dream job, and I had some specific points for the job. For example, I would like to work remotely, and I have been doing that 8 years before the pandemic. And this had allowed me to be in different places to do different things. Other things that I looked in this dream job was the facility not to have timetables and shift, but instead to work through goals. And in the company that I have here, I am allowed to be at work accomplishing my goals and transform this and take this topic to other companies. But I also have time to have some social aspects. Uh, People sometimes were surprised at how I am able to do different activities, events, be involved in the community. And it is really because I have a job that supports these topics and it sees these topics like what they also want to do. So my personal interests are aligned with the company's interests because if not, maybe I am not in my dream job. So this allowed me to develop in many different layers and also realize that this community depends not only about myself. I am not only the president, I went to be the founder. I give some counseling because we want to inspire and educate more women in technology. And from my position now, and from this personal and professional view, it works a lot for me because I'm able to have contact with my people in my house. Can have this management that I was lacking earlier. So you think about your dream job, but in the moment that I am nowadays, now that I'm thinking about it, I am very comfortable with the place where I am, and I would like to see a lot more other women and young women exceeding those dreams, even though if it sounds impossible from because from where I come from, seeing myself in this position was something impossible, but I am here and I'm feeling very happy. Wow, how beautiful. Well, it is interesting that you started to see, well, what are the things that I am looking for to pick that company? I think that that is very relevant. It's a good message to the people who are joining us today, thinking what is important that to me and how we align those personal values with the values of the company so that we can see and select and, well, put into service the competencies that we have. Mariana, in your case, you're a businesswoman. You have founded this company. with these interesting goals, and well, which also contribute to our society. Tell us a bit, what do you think should be the first step to be an entrepreneur? How did you make the figures? How did you organize your steps? Because you thought, well, I want to do this, but tell us, how did you make your first step? Well, my path was like all the entrepreneurs path, going round and round, stumbling. I remember that when I finished college, it's a very challenging time because you think about that. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? But what I thought in the moment, I knew that I wanted to have an area, work in an area with a social contribution. I wanted to do that, to contribute to America, to Latin America, and I thought that it was going to be something related with multilateral work, talking about working about an NGO. And then, from different reasons, I came back to my country because I was living in another place with my husband, and we started to be entrepreneurs without much strategy behind. And in that first experience, I fell in love of this possibility to create, to build, and I think that we always uh, had some problems. Well, we started to have some web development agency, and from that experience, we realized that there was a little, not much talent, and we saw that there was little power from women. So we thought in that moment, why don't we create a company to teach women about this? But well, we did that without our planning. I found a world that allowed me to learn a, a lot more than I thought, and it allowed me to grow, to create. It haven't been easy. We had many challenges, but now I love it. And if I see backwards, I never had this clarity like I want to be a businesswoman. I think that I have always been an entrepreneur. I had some input. I was always in associations creating some routes. I volunteered many campaigns in the USA. And I think that entrepreneurship goes through that, to have this will to create, bring something, and not only dream with things being different, but to put hands into practice. If we can make this change, if we can create this organization that is able to grow, I think that in my case, it has been a very nice experience. Well, a lot of people think about that, and you have said something very important, because when you become an entrepreneur, it is not being the owner in your own company, but this spirit, you can have this spirit within the volunteering you're doing, this spirit to want to create new things. It caught my attention a lot what you just said. It's like a pearl, what we say, to fall in love of the problem and not with the solution. What is the problem we're trying to solve? And when you find it, and when you fall in love with this problem, you can find this dream job or this dream company. It is great. Well, Mariana and Jurisa, we have created an investigation in 2020, and young people from 15 and 25 years, uh, they think, and possibly the people who are listening to us, they think that they can achieve bigger things if they have the opportunity to create a positive impact in the world. But they also tell us in this same interview that they feel that they have to develop more skills to achieve that. They think that the university does not provide them with those tools. Tell us a bit about what you think about these results from these questionnaires, how you lived about these results, about these observations. What are your comments? Well, yes, I think that they are very trustworthy because I work a lot with teens day by day, giving classes in the BBA, and giving classes to the community, because in the community we give trainings and workshops. We go to schools, to polytechnic schools. The youth now have a very different thoughts. Uh, and they want to be part of this change. They want to do big things. My mom, she doesn't understand why I want to do things as a volunteer and to do work as a volunteer, because for them, this makes no sense to do some activity without getting a payment, for example. They cannot think about that. But nowadays, the young people, they prefer to do these kinds of job, volunteer works, only for the benefits of what they're doing, because they are contributing. That after that, these efforts come back to them with job opportunities, for example, because you break the scheme of not having a job because you don't have experience, and you don't have experience because you have a job, but because they do this, they give their time to put it into favor of community. And I think that skills, the most important skills that they will have, and this allows me to succeed, and it is to find their own voice. It means that they need to be their own communicators and involve the people. And I am the kind of people that it says that because I have a lot of projects, it is better to involve than to communicate. When you communicate, the message can go in the air and people do not feel part of it. But when you communicate and you involve these people and you make them understand what are your benefits of being part of an initiative, of being part of an activity, you can see how this transforms. People has they feel more open to give their time to collaborate and to do this collaborative work. So I trust a lot that these young people, when they give themselves into community, they can establish these abilities and these skills that are difficult to find unless you put them into practice. For example, leadership. You're not always going to enter into a company and they're going to give you an area so that you can be a leader, but you can work in a community, for example, and give your time to that community and see how this ability gets stronger. Also, if I want to validate the way in which I speak, I can, for example, find events in which I can share my knowledge. And I always tell the people I work, if you have a job, for example, and they pay you for that, it means that you have skills and you have attitudes that the company wants and they value. There are many young people that do not have these kinds of skills. And when they share these skills and when you teach these skills to the others, and the little steps that make you be in that place helps this other person to be able to get their own dream. At the same time, it helps you because you can move forward. I am very happy that we are able to do these questionnaires and that these young people are interested in these social aspects more and more to be willing to give. Yes, absolutely. And what you have been saying about the topic that maybe in your job you're not able to develop some competencies such as leadership or communication, but if you are a volunteer or an activist, you can seek for that experiences and bring your own experiences and also create your own experience, right? It is a relationship win-win. It's a win-win relationship from both parts. And I think that it is very uh, it's a very nice experience. Tell us, Mariana, what do you think about that? What do you think that 85% think that you're able to contribute more? Maybe you were part of this youth. What would you like to bring more? Not necessarily like you were saying in your company, you had all the tools to become what you are now, but how do you see these investigations we did? I think that it is really nice to think upon that because it is thrilling to feel that the younger generations want to give that and they are anxious to build a better world. It is not that they are thinking about themselves, They think about how they can be useful for society. And the first thing I would say is that every day there's an opportunity to create a better world. It's not only, it doesn't need to be the huge job or a great company. From day by day, from very small things, like how I separate the trash, to bigger things, like how do I think about a career. So everything in between matters. Our activities are always an example for another person, and we are able to build a construct. So do not think that it needs to be a very big project. The project, it can be a project in your neighborhood, an institute, the ability to improve the things only with initiative. It's something very big to feel that we are able to do that. The second thing is that I agree a lot with what you're saying. By doing, you need to learn by doing. Here in Laboratoria, we have this philosophy of learning by doing. So we go against some teaching currencies in which we have everything in this framework, which has, of course, a role, but by doing, it is that we build these abilities, talking, sharing with other people. So my advice is that every time you see an opportunity of doing something, be uh, have this idea, try to seek more information to grow. If I go out to the streets and I want to try, even though it is challenging, new, even though I am doubtful, I am very young, what is going on? Uh, Go through that, go over that, and go and try it. It is by involving in different initiatives that you are going to be able to have the opportunity to get an impact, and also to create abilities that will help you to move your following steps. Yes,
Excelente.
great.
Digamos,
We
y sin
all
duda
agree to have this
coincidimos con lo que mencionas
courage
también, ¿no? De atreverse, que
to
es
dare to do new
muy
things,
importante,
because
¿no?
this willing to learn
Esas
gives
ganas
you
de
that
aprender te dan
strength.
ese
And when
coraje,
you
esa
fall in love
fuerza,
of
¿no?
this
Que
topic
generas
that you need
de
to
inmediato
solve, when you fall in love of
saber
something that you
realmente de
need to
algo que
do,
tienes que
you
hacer,
have this
te da esa
strength.
fuerza.
Our
Para,
last
nuestra
question,
última pregunta vamos
I want to
a
give you
María y
some
les quiero dar
space
espacio a
so that
ambas
you
para que nos
tell
cuenten
us a
cómo
bit. We're going
trabajar
to
con
dream a
actos,
bit.
¿no?
If
Si el trabajo del
the dream
sueño
job would
era ser
be
algo,
working
trabajar en
art,
la
work in the
academia,
sciences, in
trabajo en la
letters, or whatever
ciencia,
it is,
lo que fuera.
what can you tell us, or what can you
Si
recommend
podrían
us
comentar como
as
las
the top
tres,
three
tres
things or top
cosas
three
o tres
abilities we need
habilidades que
to
debemos cultivar
learn
para que nos sirvan
in
como
order to
ayuda
achieve
a
this
nuestro trabajo, nuestro
dream job?
emprendimiento
Top three
profesional. A ver, un
of
top
each,
3 de cada una para que nos
so that you
ayuden
can help us
realmente
to
a
be
ponernos bien,
uh,
bien a trabajar en cultivar esas
in charge
habilidades que
of
son nuestro
getting
trabajo.
our goals.
Top 3.
Well, at top three, I will flow with the things that allow to visualize ourselves in our dream job. One of them is to be sympathetic, because if I am in my dream job, it doesn't mean that the rest of the people are in their dream job. And that is a very difficult part to understand, to be in an office and when you are replenished, happy, or in a company and when you're really, really enjoying it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the other people are in the same good mood. I had this workshop about this, and I wanted to speak about the things that we like and who are we going to do it with. But if I want to do this thing, for example, with my best friend, and it is my dream, but maybe I am pushing her not to her dream job. So we need to be very sympathetic to understand that we need to look for environments that are people with the same characteristics or the same wish that we want, but they do not necessarily need to be the same as us. We want that this person is in the same dream job. And if it is an office, we want to make these other people feel comfortable within the office. Other thing is you need to be very patient. I think that we do not get to our dream job in the first place. We have a long way to go and we need to learn. And in every place we are, and we go through, it's a job. Maybe we need to get some jobs in order to move forward. And this gives an opportunity to see what we like and what we don't. Maybe if we are in the wrong job, we understand towards where we would like to go. Where is it that I see myself? So sometimes I worked in places where I worked very early or in different timetables, or the working environment was not very friendly. That doesn't go with me. And that made me realize that the relationship between the company and the person needs to be uh, it needs to be like a relationship. I need to be in love from what I do, and they need to be in love with my abilities. So it is very important to be very, very patient to move towards our dream job. And I think that maybe lastly, we need to cultivate the passion, and not the uncontrolled passion, but it's a passion, a controlled passion, in which what I am doing makes me feel passionate about. Because maybe sometimes we want to be 10 years there in a job because we already have 5, so maybe don't want to restart. It happens in relationships, for example, and there are relationships that have a long time together, but this percentage of passion of the things I like, we can live from everything, from art, from music. I always talk about technology because technology is transversal, since doctors can be cardiologists, gynecologists, and so on. In technology, I like the design. For example, I can design some mobiles. I can design different things of the technology. If I have analytics, I can be in big data. I can work with database. I can work in different areas. And I like to be focused in some things. I like to develop software. I can be some creative within technology. So I think that it is to understand what are the things that motivate me, what are the things that I will do for free, for example, that can really, really work for myself. So we need to be passionate. I am a passionate person because by the end of the day, if you're not, a day will come and you will feel that you will have been absorbed by the place where you were. So your dream job would be the one that is going to come step by step, because you need to be patient and you're going to be passionate about that. And this thing of being sympathetic is very important. Well, it's been an amazing summary. Yes, amazing topics, amazing tips. Here we're learning. Mariana, tell us from your point of view, these top 3 that we need to develop, look for, seek. I love Julisa's 3 top. I would like to add self knowing of us. We need to know ourselves, which is key to understand what is it that we want, what is it that we like. I think that that would be the first. The second one would be self-confidence, because we need to trust ourselves and our capacities and our skills. It is also uh, it's a base, a very fundamental pillar. To think that we are able to do that is the first step. And the third, I would say the creativity, because the dream job is not one. There are thousands of dream jobs around there. And I think that it depends on our creativity and our capacity to connect the dots and to make these tweets and change the realities of ourselves that are going to take us to the dream job that will make us feel replenished. Yes, yes, because you're all complementing. Some people that listen to us in the panel, we have enjoyed these topics. I admire and respect you, and I love what we have learned. Remember, sympathy, patient, controlled passion, self knowledge, self trust, and creativity. And remember that all the dreams can be pursued. We need to create a path towards it. Remember that the competencies to administering projects and knowing what goes first and later help for this to be done. Eh, and I like this topic, like what would I do for free? eh, is the thing that I like. First of all, I'd like to thank you a lot, Mariana and Julissa, for everything we learned with you. It's been an amazing panel. I'd like to thank our teenagers. Please see the PDI in the expo on the 21st of June. And also, there you can see how you can use your abilities, direct your projects, and all these abilities that these two panelists explained how you can create this and, well, to move forward. Thanks a lot. We've learned a lot tonight. Elisa and Mariana, thanks a lot. Hello, say thanks to Peru and to República Dominicana. Thanks for the invitation. We're very happy. Whoa, amazing panel we have seen. I love to be patient, also to be sympathetic, of course, passion, to have the passion. And it's not only that we need to have only one dream job. I like that. This can also change because in some area of your life, maybe your dream job can change. It can be other one. Uh, the most beautiful or the most important thing, the most uh, well, it is that we are constantly changing. So maybe a dream job can be something and you can achieve it, but after some time, your dream job can be something different. That is what is nice about life, that we can change and we can transform. So thanks a lot to this Project Management Institute Foundation, from this, who is a very important sponsor in this NAU Fest. Here you have some information if you want to get into contact, if you have a project. And before we move on, I want to let you know to the people that just joined us today, we have went through amazing moments in these previous days that opens our minds. We made new friends. We had many speakers. We learned a lot. We had some people with important workshops. We had some teamwork. So we learned about entrepreneurship, resilience, sustainability, employability. So what about looking this following video from a summary from the workshops of NAU Fest 2022? Let's play it. Wow, this is the NAU Fest. 5 days. Have you seen everything that went on? Well, if you were there, you can remember about many important moment. If you're coming for the first day, well, from now on, maybe you would like to be able very aware of all the notifications, the news of JJ Americas from the following Now Fest, and everything that's coming forward, because we have many years sharing with all of you, and some of you who are in the board of JJ Americas have also been students. They were like you here, but without many technology. I mean, without much technology. How did they do it? Now we have a different vision. We have technology. We also have many tools that can add a lot more. And I would like to see you in some years here sharing with us your story. And now I want to introduce somebody to the stage. We would like to meet you. Please, producer, please. I want to listen to this mariachi.
¡Favor! ¡Súbele, por favor! ¡Ay, ay, ay, ay! ay! Señoras y señores.
I'm from Mexico, yes.
Gracias.
I want to meet and know who are here from the students from JJ Mexico. Hello. Hello, how are you? We can see everybody there gathered. Let's see one by one very fast. Have you been here the 5 days? Well, the sixth today. Yes, from the very first day. Okay, now what is your name? The one with the square t-shirt. Alexis. Here I have the first question. If you had to work for free without getting paid, where would you like to work, or what would you like to do? I would like to work as a volunteer here. Have you listened to that, JJ? Okay. I love Jay. Really. Uh, well, wow. I'd like to ask somebody else. Raise your hands who would like to answer. Well, okay. I see that you are gathered there. Are you creating any project together? Well, oh, yes, we're creating the Now Fest. No, we're very passionate about this. And well, here we are gathered to see you, to see this community. And lastly, and I would like to ask a following question. How is it that you found out about JJ Americas? How did you know the information? Like, who was it? How was it? Well, this is a very long story, and some years ago, we were seeing all these junior programs here in Mexico, and 10, 12 years ago, and 4 years ago, we are volunteers here in the Now Fest, really. Oh my God, what an amazing story. From 5 to 10 years, you see? Well, so all the people who are seeing us, you can see there thousands of young people to see. You can feel identified and continue with us. I send you a hug, and well, thanks a lot. Bye. Well, Remember to use the hashtag NowFest and, of course, to tag JJ America so that we can share your stories. And like them, I would like to listen to your stories so that you can inspire many other people in the world and, of course, in the Americas, and also share us in your publications, in your social networks. Help us share to the world. How did you feel? Where would you like to go now? What are you going to be your choices, your decisions in this Now Fest? But now we haven't finished yet. We have many amazing conferences, and now I would like to introduce an international speaker who maybe you're going to be overwhelmed. But first, I have this for you. Wait. For those who like sport or who say, well, maybe I would like to learn a little bit more about this sport, it's not only is a ball or winning championships, it's a little bit more beyond. It's like what we're doing here in NAU Fest is teamwork, to have this sense, like to have this compatibility, to be patient. There's a lot more in sports. Now you will see it in the middle. Now you will see why I have this ball here, because now I will introduce you an international speaker. He is an entrepreneur. He is a conferencer. He has some bestsellers, and he is the ex-CEO of an agency who inspired this movie about Jerry Maguire, like Show Me the Money, in which he was an agent who had all the power and the money, and from 1 second, the life gives him a change, and how through some failures he transcends and sees beyond to the speakers of the players, sorry, of the football American, to have this personal closure, to have a good bill, and to see them as human beings. So I won't say more. Now we're going to listen to them, and we're going to learn more with Sarah Rapp from the Red from Junior Achievement, who is there with our speaker. He is David Meltzer. Welcome.
Y David, quienes están en un super lugar, ¿sí? En el SoFi Stadium, en donde se realizó el Super Bowl este año. Es un estadio espectacular. Así que voy a hacer este pase, ¿ok? ¿Preparados? Vamos contigo, Sara y David. ¡Vámonos!
Hi, I'm Dave Meltzer, and I'm going to talk to you about one of the most critical business issues for the future of work, and that's branding. Never before has branding been more important when it comes to our own personal brands or our products, our services, or our solutions. And we need to find our frequency to build our brand, because the size, scope, and scale of the audience has changed so much. In fact, I've instituted what I call the Shakespearean philosophy in branding. And the first key to Shakespeare was, to thine own self be true. Never before has it been more important to learn to love you, to learn to be yourself, to not want to be what other people want you to be, or what's missing, or what you don't have, but instead to know who you are and who your frequency is. And I'll utilize an example. There is a person in America called the Dr. Pimple Popper, and Dr. Pimple Popper has more subscribers than the entire Pro Football Hall of Fame in America. More subscribers because Dr. Pimple Popper is true to her own selves, and she realizes the size, scope, and scale of the audience and the change that has been made over the years, that we now, even as personal brands, as solutions, products, services, have access to 7.6 billion people on any given day. We're able to, if we find out who we are and are true to thine own self, as Shakespeare so eloquently wrote about years and years ago, that we can build an audience by utilizing the second Shakespearean philosophy, which is the whole world is your stage. knowing that we now have access far beyond retail channels, distribution, all far beyond the radio shows, TV, newspapers, and traditional media, from billboards to backdrops, it doesn't matter anymore, because we now know that we can utilize Shakespeare, not only continually enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential, knowing our own frequency, knowing our brand of our personal or professional product, service, or solution, but more importantly, understanding the whole world is our stage. The whole world is our stage means there's four things that we need to focus in on in order to create our brand. Number one, capturing our essence, capturing our own selves, our products or service or solution, in a way that is consistent and persistent in the pursuit of the possibility, probability, and perspective of our potential market of 7.6 billion people. And so we really have to hone in on capturing what we do. And thank goodness for the technology today that I can stand here in my office at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles and capture this speech for you and utilize this again and again and again in perpetuity. The second strategy or philosophy of building your brand and finding your frequency is understanding that we want to capture our essence, but even more importantly, we have the opportunity to modify our essence, to modify our true selves, to modify our brand that suits the platform's distribution that is available to us as we stand today, or available for us tomorrow for new platforms and more distribution and different distribution. So once we capture and reposit, the second thing in finding our frequency and building our brand is to modify it correctly. Modify TikTok in one way, Instagram in another, LinkedIn in another, Facebook in another, still being able to modify it for billboards, TV commercials, radio ads, podcasts, whatever it may be. The more we learn to capture our essence, the better opportunities we have to modify that essence in order to get an exponential result in building our brand, personal or professional, and finding our frequency. The third is very critical, and it's the amplification. And amplification has never been easier because of the viral nature of content, of brand building. That when we are true to our own selves, we are true to thine own self, be true, we're able to capture it correctly, modify it in synergy and synergistically with the different platforms out there, we can then amplify it at an exponential rate, so that the people who resonate with our frequency, see, you got to realize that your frequency is your neighborhood, and your neighborhood grows with the more people that resonate with your frequency or your own brand. And the more that we post and the better it is modified and the more we amplify it, the greater the audience of sponsors, people that will share it with other people, and power sponsors, people that will enjoy it themselves and share it with other people, giving us the branding, the exponentiality of branding that was never available before, but yet it was realized thousands of years ago by Shakespeare, by thine own self be true, and the whole world is your stage. And so if we understand and stay consistent to our own selves, learning the lessons and building our brand in a positive way by consistently, persistently enjoying that branding mechanism, by capturing as much as we can, as often as we can, and modifying it in the opportunity and aligned with the platforms that are available. And some available aren't available till the future, but they will be. As long as we have it captured and reposited, we can then, of course, modify and amplify it through sponsorship and power sponsorship. And then finally, one of the most overlooked things in building your brand and finding your frequency is the perpetual nature of content. You know, when we go to a game here at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, once the game is over, we can't watch the game again. But all of your content, your brand, your personal brand, your product, service, or solution is perpetual when it's captured correctly, modified correctly, and amplified exponentially. The perpetual repository of data of your brand or frequency is more valuable in the aggregate than anything else, including the live game behind me. All of this can be done when you have a strategy that allows people to stimulate interest by looking at your content and your brand, utilizing all the different platforms of the same content by modifying it, utilizing a huge network of sponsors and power sponsors, people that will share your content and people that love your content and consume it themselves and share your content. But you won't get the exponential aggregate effect unless you have a perpetual repository so people can binge watch repetitively and share repetitively for perpetuity your brand. Utilizing Shakespeare, you can build that frequency. You can elevate the neighborhood for more options, more opportunities, more touches of favor of your brand. The future of work lies within the history of human nature, lies within the history of one of our greatest poets and authors of all time. As Shakespeare stated, we need to be true to thine own self. And we need to understand the whole world is our stage, not just the 80,000 people that can be seated behind me, but the entire world. Only if we capture our brand or our frequency correctly, we modify it to align it to all the different platforms available. We amplify it through sponsorship and power sponsor, people who will share our content and also consume our content and share it themselves so that it is and exists in perpetuity to exponentially aggregate and build upon itself. Build your brand, find your frequency, study history to understand human nature of your frequency, of your truth, of thine own self, and then utilize the stage theory to reach the entire world to capture, modify, amplify, and perpetuate your brand, both personally and professionally, for your product, service, or solution. I appreciate the few moments to talk about one of the most critical business issues that face the future of work. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you all in person.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, David. I'm beyond inspired as per usual, and I love, 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 love all the tips and tricks. I have the pleasure to now ask you some more follow-up questions. So the audience who, is watching us has probably the same questions. So the number one question I probably have, and most likely a lot of people have too, is like, how do I overcome this fear on like what other people think when I put myself out there on socials?
This is a fantastic question because it's one that I faced originally. I was working with a famous entrepreneur in America, a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary convinced me to build my brand. And we were blessed to have time together every week where I helped him with his sports agency, but he helped me with my brand. And the number one piece of advice that Gary gave me was to keep on posting. And I said, yeah, but my family and friends are going to make fun of me. And professionally for your product, service, or solution. I appreciate the few moments to talk about one of the most critical business issues that face the future of work. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you all in person.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, David. I'm beyond inspired as per usual, and I love, 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 love all the tips and tricks. I have the pleasure to now ask you some more follow-up questions. So the audience who, is watching us has probably the same questions. So the number one question I probably have, and most likely a lot of people have too, is like, how do I overcome this fear on like what other people think when I put myself out there on socials?
This is a fantastic question because it's one that I faced originally. I was working with a famous entrepreneur in America, a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary convinced me to build my brand. And we were blessed to have time together every week where I helped him with his sports agency, but he helped me with my brand. And the number one piece of advice that Gary gave me was to keep on posting. And I said, yeah, but my family and friends are going to make fun of me. They're going to be sick of me. And Gary just kept telling me, David, until one of your friends or relative complains about how much you are posting, you haven't even reached the minimum of being able to build a brand. Until one of your friends or family who loves you and knows you feels as if you're posting too much, you haven't even reached the minimum of what you're supposed to do. So in order to get through the fear is actually to press through the fear, meaning keep on posting. For an entire year, the only advice Gary gave me is, I love your stuff, keep on posting more. And although some people will laugh at you, make fun of you, they will scoff at you, what will happen eventually is they will applaud you. And that has been the story of my branding. And the lesson of branding is, do not want what other people want for you. Want what you want for yourself, and they will eventually applaud you.
Wow, this is so inspiring. And I'm sure a lot of the people who are watching are in the beginning of the journey, right? They maybe start their first job, you have some interests, and then sometimes it can be hard to like focus on one thing. And I think the beauty with a personal brand is you don't necessarily have to focus on one thing. It's reflective of who you are. And if you have multiple interests, I think it's perfectly fine to show all of this on socials. And I love what you said, David, that you don't have to fit in the box that people put around you, especially, sometimes in your job, you're responsible for one thing and then you're an expert in one thing, but it could be that you have like a million other interests in other pieces. So I think this is where, well, what also helped, especially me building an own brand, is like, hey, it's my rules because it's who I am, right? And what I would love, and another question, because of course, all the people who are watching today, they are part of the JA alumni community after they finish NAU Fest. So how important is a like-minded community in this whole building your own brand, gaining more self-confidence and putting yourself out there?
Well, I go beyond just a like-minded community. And obviously as a JA alumnus myself, and as someone who has many, as Chief Chancellor of Junior Achievement University, many interests within the context of junior achievement, I think it goes beyond like-minded to open-minded. What I search for are the right people with the right ideas. And that's why I play such an integral role in junior achievement, is that it's not only like-minded individuals, but it's the open-minded individuals with open hearts and open hands. The community that we built of millions and millions of alumni that are willing to be of service and of value to each other, to not only help where they can, but also to find other people that have like-mindedness to help where they can. A like mind is no good if it's closed. And so open minds with open hearts and open hands are what junior achievement and junior achievement alumnus give to all of us, an exponential reach and exponential value that cannot be competed with anywhere in the world, as notated and recognized by the Nobel Peace Prize itself. So I think there's more than just I who believe in junior achievement and see the value of the community that we built.
100%. And we are grateful for your support, David. And for everybody who's watching, I know a lot of you only speak Spanish and maybe Portuguese because this is very targeted to Latin America. But also for me, coming as a non-native speaker, I highly encourage everyone to also learn another language, explore other cultures, make sure that you connect with one another because you're in an online environment and we all know that we all want to be in person and meet the people. But imagine the breadth of students we can reach in the NAU Fest. I just heard that we're hitting 30,000 and more and more and more and more coming in. So David, what is your advice on when you meet people in person? That is also part of your personal brand, right? How do you approach someone you don't know without that awkward moment of hello, I'm Sarah, this kind of awkward moment. How do you go over it? Because that's also your personal brand.
Absolutely. I created an open-ended question guide, which I make available to all of Junior Achievement. We put it in Junior Achievement University. You can email me directly at david@dmeltzer.com. If you don't know how to get it, I'll show you how. But the open-ended question guide allows us to find out not only if someone has an open mind, but to explore by being more interested than interesting what someone's doing today pertaining to what we would like to know about, finding out what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and then allowing us to ask them, would it help you if? And as I explore what you're doing today, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and if it would help you if, I then can naturally ask another question. Do you know anyone that can help me? By using an open-ended question guide in person, we can build a community like the Junior Achievement alumnus that are open-minded, but not only open-minded, but a community of sponsors, people who know people can help us, and power sponsors, people that can help us themselves, and they know someone that can help us. The greatest community of sponsors and power sponsors is Junior Achievement University and Junior Achievement Worldwide.
This is incredible. And as a very last call to action, I'm very excited that we can share this with you because this is a very concrete next action step. And it's actually, David, the 2-minute drill show because the applications are still open. So do you want to share with everyone what 2-minute drill is all about and where people can start to take action on their personal brand or professional brand today?
2-minute drill is the only pitch only TV show. Bloomberg, it was on Amazon Prime, now it's on Apple TV, and we give over $50,000 of cash and prizes. We have a Junior Achievement episode. We give a Junior Achievement Impact Award and scholarship money every single episode, and we are taking applications from everyone from Junior Achievement, alumni and participants, to show your stuff in 2 minutes. It's a pitch only, so there's no funding facade. It's just prizes in cash for being the best person that can pitch. I don't even care if it's a real business. I just want to see you pitch. I want to see you come with it with all the energy. And I will tell you, we have been doing, this will be season 4, the best pitches that I've had, the best episode of all the years of doing all the pitch shows, from Elevator Pitch to Dragon's Den to, of course, the Shark Tank. The best pitches come from Junior Achievement and their alumni. So please apply. Let's all get together and support one another, win some money, and learn a lot of lessons. And of course, we're going to be launching the show on Apple TV. So even if your pitch isn't the winner, you're still going to get a lot of exposure and a great experience with 4 extremely experienced judges to give you some great advice.
And on that note, thank you so much, David, for your time. Really appreciate it. Guys, make sure to follow David, apply for 2-minute drill, and watch out on all the Junior Achievement and JA channels around the world for the incredible opportunities. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope to see you soon in person.
I hope to see everyone. Be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self. Do good deeds.
Oh, wow, wow. O sea, lo que
Wow, we have just understood. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, David. In this participation, all the message David gave us And well, after he answered all the different questions, we have all the extraordinary knowledge that you can see. Well, wow. So now you know that you can inscribe yourself. You're all welcome. So you can take part of this speech. You have to create it for 2 minutes. You can have this likelihood of being winners. And I like the part that what do you think about your frequency? How are you going to create your brand? How is it that you can grow
Si
a lot
estudias
more if you
historia,
study
comportamiento humano,
story
y
of the
sobre
human
todo
behavior,
ahorita
for example?
que lo
And
intentes, que
nowadays, to
vayas, que lo
try
hagas,
to
que
go
puedas
to
vivir
do
algo
it, it's
espectacular
been
y se pueden
amazing. And I
con
know
estos
that
speakers
we're going to have a lot of these
guardados en
speakers
algún sitio que
in
próximamente
some space that we will be able to share with you if you want
todo
to take
esto
more
que has
notes and
vivido
to
y
share
que en el
everything that you
NAU
have
va a
lived
ser
in the Now
espectacular,
Fest.
que lo
It's going to
hagas
be amazing if you
mires
can do
a
it and to
muchísimas más
inspire
jóvenes
more
de
other
todo el
people
mundo.
like
Y creo
you
que
from different parts of the world. And something that
ahora
Sarah said was like,
esta
now that we are in this
oportunidad de ser
opportunity
globales,
to be global,
los invito a que
I
aprendamos
invite you to
ser
learn a
porque
second, a
te va a
third
hacer
language, because this
conocer a
is
más
going to
personas,
open
para
you the
conocer
doors
mejor
to
el
know
contenido,
more
para
people, to know
poderte
more
expandir. Y así,
subjects, to
ahora yo quiero
expand
que el día de
yourself.
hoy, cuando salgan de
And
este NAU
well,
Fest,
I want
vayan
you
con todas las
to
posibilidades
go with
y
all
todas
these
las ideas
possibilities after you leave this Now Fest
¿ok?
and to put
Pero
them into
ahora
practice.
también quiero
But
sacar la
now
música
I
otra
also want to
vez.
listen to the music again. Come on.
Ahora sí, 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 porque vamos a ir a través del
Because
chat.
we're going to see the chat.
Y darle la bienvenida a los jóvenes a este escenario. Vamos arriba, que me acompañen mis amigos de El
Thumbs up. Let's dance a
Salvador.
bit.
El Salvador, mira nomás qué bandera tan bonita.
El
¡Hola,
Salvador, we have there. What a beautiful flag.
echar la cumbia! Ahí estamos viendo también al señor productor que quiere darle un poquito a la cumbia.
I really like the cumbia, don't you?
Gracias a cada uno de ustedes. ¡Hola!
Hello, hello everyone there.
Me encanta, comida tu tata niña la chiquitita. ¿Cómo te llamas?
What is your name?
Ahí me escuchan ustedes.
Can you listen to me
Pero yo
there?
no los escucho. Ahí están, ahí están.
Yes,
¿Cómo
yes,
te
we can
llamas?
listen to you. What is your name? Tell her your name, Sophie.
¿Cuál es tu nombre?
And you in the front, what is your name? Tatiana.
Fabiola. ¿Cómo estás, Fabiola? Y
Fabiola,
familia,
sorry.
Estados Unidos. Quiero que me digas
You're
cuál
all
es
together there.
tu momento.
Woo. Okay, what a great moment.
¿Qué es lo que te quedas? Como tres ideas, tres palabras.
3 ideas that you have from this Now Fest day. 3 words. Well, I had an amazing moment. We have been through very inspiring talks. And I like the thing that, well, even though your dreams seem too big, you need to follow them.
Gracias, Fabi. Y quiero
So,
saber cómo
thank you, Fabi. And who told you
Junior Achievement. ¿Cuál es tu historia?
about junior achievement? What is your story? Well, I want to tell you that I am part of junior achievement staff here in Salvador, and I shared all this information so that all the young people could be able to get this information. So I have been a volunteer previously, and now I am part of the staff. So I like to welcome all of the people, the young people that are going to be part of this beautiful family. Thanks, I love it. I love it. But I want you to tell me who invited you to Junior Achievement? Well, here in our country, we work in some public centers, and I was studying in one of these centers, and that is how I found out about Junior Achievement. Well, look at your friends. Amazing.
Miles y miles de jóvenes
Well, a lot and lots of young people throughout these years. Here's going to be the start of many of the stories and friendships, proposals, changes, businesses, services to all of you in this world. Thanks a lot. I send a huge kiss to Salvador. Thanks.
Oye, qué saborzote trae las del Salvador.
Well, I really like the people from Salvador.
Oye, vámonos rápidamente.
Let's move fast. Uh,
Muchísimas gracias
well,
a todos los
thanks.
que nos
Thanks a lot.
acompañan en este
All the
NAU
flags that
Fest
are joining us in this
Canadá,
NAU
Chile
Fest. If you're in
también,
Canada,
Argentina,
Mexico,
Salvador,
Argentina,
Perú,
Salvador,
Isla del
Peru,
Caribe,
the Caribbean
Panamá, todo
islands,
el mundo que nos
Panama,
escucha, muchas,
everybody who
muchas
is here,
gracias.
thanks,
Y
thanks a lot.
recuerden que
And
todo esto
remember
continúa un día
that we
antes de
still
Carta del
have
Príncipe
a
21,
very
que
special
con más
day. We
conversaciones,
have on the
documentos y más
21st of
adelante.
June
Y
a lot of
justamente en
surprises.
este día
And
principal del NAU
this
Fest
main
vamos a
day
hablar
of
de
the
una
NOW Fest,
cosa
we're going to close with a
súper
talk that is
interesante.
very
Yo sé
interesting.
que a ti te va a
And I
gustar
know that you
muchísimo
are going to
porque
be
hemos
very
estado
interested in
utilizando el
it because
hashtag
we have been using the
NAUFest
hashtag NowFest and
para
also
todas
tagging
las
JJ
redes
Americas in the
sociales,
social
¿ok? Bueno,
networks. Okay.
ahora,
Okay.
ahí les va una pregunta. Si me pueden poner el chat,
I
por
will
favor,
ask you if
el chat
you
ahí,
can give me the
porque voy
chat
a hacer un par de preguntas
because I will ask
para
some
darle paso a nuestra
questions
invitada el día de
to
hoy,
give way
¿ok?
to
Entonces,
our
si me
new
pueden poner el
guest
chat, estaría
that
espectacular. Quiero
uh,
que me pongan
if
una
you
manita
can
arriba o el emoji
put me in the
para
chat.
que
Can you
digas
put me an
si
emoji with a hands
Instagram
up
es una de
if
tus
Instagram is
redes
one
sociales
of
favoritas?
your
¿Ok?
favorite social
Vale, quiero
networks?
ver la manita arriba en el
I
chat,
would
por
like to
favor.
see the hands
Si
up
eres
in the
más de
chat if
Instagram,
you are
si te
more
gusta
from
más
Facebook, sorry,
WhatsApp
Instagram,
o
or
chat,
if you
o
enjoy
tu
more
red
WhatsApp,
social
or
favorita
if
es
your social
Facebook.
network is
¿Ok?
Facebook.
A ver, quiero leerlos en el
I
chat.
want to
¿Qué es
read
lo que, qué red social les gusta
to
más?
you in the
A
chat
ver,
what
dice
is your favorite
Facebook,
social
¿ok?
network?
Les
Facebook,
gusta Instagram,
okay.
¿ok?
You like
A mano arriba,
Instagram,
mano arriba. Para
okay.
Instagram,
Hands up
¿ok? Es de
for
los más
Instagram.
populares. Wesley,
Okay, it's
Betty,
very
Marta y
popular.
Tina. Ay, Dios mío, todo el mundo se está sumando. Jennifer,
Okay,
Evelyn,
everyone is
Alfaro, todo el mundo
joining.
uniéndonos
Evelyn
para
Alfaro,
Instagram,
Jamie.
¿ok? Ahora,
Those for
stop.
Instagram. Stop
Vámonos con
for a
los que
minute.
están
Now
más
let's see
conectados.
who are
Vamos
more
con Facebook,
connected through
¿ok?
Facebook.
Ahora me van a poner un emoji con lentes.
I would like to see an emoji
Únicamente
with
para
glasses, an
para
emoji with the
emoji
glasses
con
for
lentes para Facebook,
Facebook.
emoji de lentes para Facebook. Aquí dice Instagram, Now Fest.
Instagram now
Uy, va
fast.
muy rápido, sí, ¿no? La
You go
conquistada.
so fast.
Wow, gracias. IG y también WhatsApp.
IG and
Aquí dice
WhatsApp are the
Mónica.
most the
Gracias,
used.
Fernando. Cualquiera. Muy bien,
Thank you,
manos
Fernando.
arriba.
Any of those.
Y
Remember, the hands up is for Instagram and the emoji with the
Sofía,
glasses for
gracias.
Facebook.
Jacqueline va más con Instagram.
Okay, they
Ok,
go with
estoy
Instagram.
leyendo, gracias.
I am reading to you.
Pinterest, también se queda con Pinterest,
Pinterest?
Instagram.
Okay.
Ok, ya vemos las caritas que están enamorados
Now we
también.
can see the faces. Some of them are in love.
Josué, Olga,
Okay,
gracias.
now we have
Marina,
Josue, Valentina.
Josué. Ay, me encanta verlos
I love
ahí.
it. I love
Gracias,
to see
Betty.
you interacting in the
Bueno, pues
networks.
ahora les voy a
Okay,
decir
so
lo
now
siguiente.
I
Bien.
will tell you that
Ahora mismo vamos a escuchar una líder que
we're going
tiene
to listen to a
varias
leader that
mundos de
has
todas
the
estas redes sociales. Atención, ¿cómo
task
pueden
to
hacer
run
crecer su
all
marca? Todo
the
lo que les
social
comenté
networks, how you're
desde
able to
ahora
create your
escuchando un
brand,
poco de
make it
eso, ¿ok?
improve,
Pero ahora
and some
muy
advices
enfocado
that we were
con las
listening with David.
redes
But
sociales,
this is
porque
specific
sabemos
in the
que tiene
social
una
media.
importancia muy,
And
muy
we
grande
know that it has a
para
very
hacer su
huge
mensaje,
importance
para
so that we
hacer
can expand our message
Así que
and to
vamos en
make
este
our
momento
companies
a presentar, porque
grow.
es un orgullo
So
para mí,
it
para
is
cerrar en este
an
día
honor
principal del
to
NAUFES a
introduce
Karen Lau,
to Maret Lau,
vicepresidenta
who is the
de
vice
marketing
president of
y para
Facebook
Latinoamérica
for
y miembro
Latin
del board de
America,
JJ
member of
Americas.
the
Y
JJ
para esto
Americas
vamos a
board.
contar
And for that,
también
we're
ella
also going
mismo
to have
con el board chair
with
de Junior
the
Achievement
board years of
Americas
Junior
Managing
Achievement in
Director
Americas,
de Delta
who is the
Airlines en
director
América
of
Región,
Delta
el
Airlines,
señor Luciano Macaño.
Luciano
Bienvenido,
Macaño.
Luciano. Hola.
Welcome.
Gracias, Ileana. Cuánta energía, qué lindo momento.
Thanks a lot,
Estamos muy
Iliana.
felices de
It's a lot of
conectarnos con
energy
todos
there. It's
ustedes y
amazing
con
to
los
be here
jóvenes de la
connected with
región
you, with
que
the youth
apuestan al
of this
futuro y
region
que
who
con
bet to
todo
the
esto
future,
estamos convencidos de
towards
que,
with
que
us
creemos
all
en un mundo
together. We
mejor y
can
más ambicioso.
create a
Un
new
placer
world.
ser
It's a
parte
pleasure
de
to
este
be part
principal día del NAU
of
Fest,
this
después de
main
5
Now
semanas
Fest
llenas de
after
contenido,
5
de workshop donde
days of a
discutimos
lot of
ideas
workshops,
claras para el
content,
futuro, donde aprendimos de
talking about the
emprendedurismo,
future. We spoke
resiliencia,
about
sustentabilidad, empleabilidad,
sustainability,
todas estas cosas
resilience,
lindas que la vida nos
employability,
va a
and
llevar
all these
a un
nice
futuro
things that are
mejor
going to
para todos
lead us to
nosotros.
a better
Hoy tenemos
future.
una oportunidad
Today we
única
have a great
de recibir
opportunity, a
contenido
unique
interesante,
opportunity to
grandes
have some
historias
inspiration from great
de grandes
stories
hombres y
of
mujeres
great
que
men
están
and
marcando el
women
ritmo de la
who are
región,
leading the
digo,
region,
el mundo.
and I need to say the
Y en
world
esta oportunidad,
also. And in
parte
this
de lo
opportunity,
Thank
tradicional
you,
part
Ileana.
of
es que
the
el
tradition, like in
How much
tradition,
energy in this moment.
give me
We're
this
so
that to
happy
prepare
to
you
connect with all of
to be
you, with the
successful
youngest of
in
this
this
region that have
very
this vision to the
complex but
future. We're
funny
convinced all
global
together that
economy. So we assume the
we
challenge
think
of
that
a
a better
better
world is
future, a
possible.
better
It's a
tomorrow.
pleasure to
Before
be
I
part of
introduce our
this
guest,
Now
I'd
Fest
like to
after 5
thank
days
all
of
these
workshops, contents,
staff who made it so
discussions.
made it
We learned
possible
about
to be here.
entrepreneurship,
The sponsors, all
resilience, employability, and all these.
Inspirarnos juntos el uno a otro en el día a día durante toda esta semana. No tengo ninguna duda que ya en este momento juntos estamos empezando a cambiar la vida y a cambiar el futuro de cada uno de nosotros. Ahora sí, sin más, quiero pasar a nuestra invitada de lujo de hoy, Maren Lau, vicepresidenta de Meta para América Latina, una increíble persona, una gran amiga, colega del Consejo.
For you to be younger, to be successful in this community,
Maren, bienvenida y muchas gracias.
to have a better future and a better tomorrow. Before I present our
thanks a lot,
guest, I
Luciana.
want
It's a
to
pleasure to be
thank
here.
to
Hello,
everybody that made
everyone. I
possible
hope
this
you are
Now Fest, the
enjoying from
volunteers, the
this
staff,
amazing
the
Now
whole region,
Fest.
the sponsors, and above all, each of you to participate, to give your time and let us inspire each other on a daily basis during this whole week. I don't have any doubt that this moment we are starting to change life and
Well, how
future
did I
of
get
all
here?
and each of us. Now I'm going
Let
to
me
pass
tell you a
to
bit
our
about my
guest, Meryl
stories.
Lau, is
Well,
Vice
I come
President
from an
of Sales
island.
for
It is
American
Maui.
for Latin America. She's a friend of mine.
It
She's a
had
colleague.
80,000 people. It was very small, but with
She's
great ideas
part of
of
the
going
Junior
out,
Achievement
working
Board.
in New York with an own vision that I had since I was a kid. And in a moment, I went to university. I studied a career that is called social studies. I always say this because it influenced a lot of my career later. I studied social sciences. Most of my colleagues, uh, all of them went to professions such as lawyers, human rights, journalists, and I went to marketing and administration after I graduated to the private sector. And I went there because I really believe that companies, private companies, have a huge responsibility and a power and an influence to impact positively not only in businesses but also in communities and in the people of that communities so they can benefit from the products and services. So with that thread in my head, I entered in to work into marketing, and my first work was to represent the Caribbean
promocionarles frente a un público de Norteamérica para ir a conocer, viajar, etcétera, porque bueno, en muchos países la economía se basa en el turismo y las experiencias. Y en ese momento lo que se
in
estaba
that moment,
comunicando
what
del
was
Caribe
communicated
eran
from the
historias
Caribbean was
muy
stories about,
típicas, digamos,
they
quizás
were typical
estereotipos, que
stories,
no quiere
some
decir que no haya
stereotypes.
nada de
It
verdad
doesn't
en
mean
eso,
that it
pero
is not
lo
true, but
típico,
the
la
typical thing.
playa
The
divina,
beach,
la arena blanca,
lovely,
el
the white
hotel de
sand,
4 o
the
5
four or
estrellas, el
five stars
casino, el
hotel,
cóctel,
casinos,
¿no? Y
cocktails.
parte de
And
mi
part of my
misión en ese
mission
momento fue
in that
convencer
moment
a los
was to
gobiernos
convince the
que podíamos
government that
hablar
we
de
could
su
talk
isla, de sus
about their
islas, de sus
islands
países de
uh,
otra forma,
in another
realmente
way,
hablando de las
talking
historias
really
únicas, los
about the
lugares,
unique
la cultura, la herencia, todo lo que
places,
es
the
las
heritage,
personas
and so on. everything that has
y
to
los
do with the
raíces del
people
lugar.
and the
Y
roots of
realmente
that
fue muy
place.
exitoso
And
y
it
ahí
was
sí me
really
di cuenta
successful.
que
And that was when I
realmente
realized that
contando las
by
historias
telling
auténticas,
the
¿no?
authentic
Yendo por otro
stories,
camino,
going
podría
to
funcionar y que los
different
negocios
ways,
sí pueden
it could
tener
work,
un
and that
impacto
businesses can
siguiendo
have
ese
an
camino.
impact following that
Eso
path.
siguió por mi carrera.
That
Y
went
cuando
through my
llegué a
career. And
Argentina
then when I moved
hace
to
15
Argentina
años, ahora vivo en
15
Sao
years
Paulo, pero
ago,
en ese
now I
momento
live
en
in Sao Paulo,
Argentina,
but in that moment it was
me
Argentina,
encontré que
I
había
found
dejado la
that
carrera
I left
corporativa en New
my
York
corporate career in New York
y estaba
and I
en
was
Argentina
in
pues sin
Argentina,
trabajo. Me había mudado porque
unemployed.
mi
I have
marido es
moved because my
argentino y
husband
me había
is
mudado de New
Argentinian
York para
and I
empezar
moved from New York
mi
to
vida como
start my
casada ahí
life as a
con
married
él
woman with him,
y no tenía trabajo.
and I
Ahí
was
me tuve que
unemployed.
reinventar.
There
Y
was
cuando
when
me
I had to
reinventé era el
reinvent
momento
myself, and it was a
del
moment
auge de digital.
of the digital
Y me
time.
interesó mucho.
So I got
Y
interested
entré
into
como
that,
socia
and I
fundadora
entered
en
as a
una
founding
empresa de
partner
marketing digital en un
into a
momento
company
que
of digital
estamos
marketing in
ayudando
a
a
moment in which
empresas
we
a
were
hacer
helping to
publicidad,
companies to
entender el
make
negocio
advertising,
online, el mundo
understand the
digital.
online
Nadie se
company,
estaba
the
metiendo.
digital
Había
world.
mucho interés,
There was a lot
pero
of
las
interest,
empresas más
but the companies,
grandes,
the
más
bigger
corporativas, no se estaban
companies,
metiendo en
were
esto.
not into that.
Entonces ahí entramos
So
en este mundo
we entered
digital
into this digital
y
world,
8 años
and
después
8
entré a
years
Meta
later I
y aquí
started
estoy. Y lo
Meta,
que es interesante,
and
que
this is
hablo
where
de
I
este
am. What is
hilo,
interesting
es
about
que
this
estoy en
thread
una
is that I
empresa
am in a
donde
company
em, la misión
where the
de
mission
Meta es
of
realmente
Meta
dar a los
is
individuos
to give to the
el poder
individuals
de
the power
conectar y
to
hacer
connect
comunidad.
and to
Entonces
create a
es
community.
interesante cuando
And
tienes una
it is
visión
interesting when you have
personal
a
y
personal vision and
lo
you can
buscas en tu vida
look for it
profesional,
into your
puedes llegar a un
professional life,
momento,
you
espero
can
que
reach
a
to a
lo largo de tu
moment,
carrera,
I think that in
donde
all your
tus
career,
valores
in which your
pueden
values
ser
can
reflejados,
be
porque estás
reflected
construyéndoles en el
because
momento
you're
también
building
con
in that moment.
la empresa, el
They can be
trabajo, la
reflected then
profesión
in the
que tú estás.
company, in the work, in the profession that you
Me
look
encanta,
for.
Maren, porque contás esta historia desde aquella
I love
isla
it,
que
Maren,
describiste,
because you
que
speak
es muy
about this
bonita,
island, very
además,
beautiful island, but
pasando
also
por New York, por
going through
Argentina,
New
por
York,
Sao Paulo, y
Argentina,
en
Sao
todo ese
Paulo.
camino hablaste de
And in all
misión,
this
hablaste de
path, you
conexiones,
talked about a
de
mission,
personas, hablaste
connections,
de
people.
resiliencia.
You talked about
Realmente la
resilience.
vida no es
Clearly,
una línea
life has
recta,
not
ha
been a
tomado varios
direct
caminos
line, a straight line.
y
It
hoy
took different
vos
paths. And now
en
we
esta
see you
función de
in this
liderazgo
position of
en una
leadership
compañía sin
in a
ninguna duda,
company that
liderazgo en un segmento de la
undoubtedly
industria además
has
que está
a part
cambiando el
of
mundo.
the segment
Contanos un
of the
poquito
industry that is changing the world.
cómo se
Tell us
siente
a
ser
bit,
Maren Lau en
how
este
does it feel
momento
to be
con
Marilyn in
semejante
this moment with
responsabilidad,
such a
¿no?
responsibility,
Semejante desafío por delante.
with such challenge?
Sí, es como tú dices,
Well, it is like you're
hay
saying,
mucho desafío,
uh,
mucha oportunidad
there's
y
a lot of
mucha responsabilidad.
challenge and responsibility.
Yo creo que como
I think
líder de
that
una
as a
empresa
leader of a
grande que
company,
tiene
of a
hoy en
big
día como NAU
company that
tiene
now
1.200
has
empleados en América Latina,
900
obviamente es parte de una
employers in
empresa que da servicios
Latin
a
America, it's a company that
más de 3
give
mil millones de
services to more than
personas en el
3,000
mundo,
million of
pues hay una
people.
responsabilidad
So
grande
it's a
a lo
huge
que hablen a las
responsibility
personas, a las
about where
comunidades,
people
¿no?
have
Obviamente a los
uh,
negocios
to the
de todos los
companies, of
tamaños,
course,
desde
the
de los
businesses, the
más pymes
companies, from the
hasta
PYMEs
los más
versions
grandes.
to the biggest
Entonces, algo
versions
que yo tomo
of
muy
the
en
company. So
serio,
it is something that I
y
take
dentro de la
very
empresa,
seriously. And
siendo
within the
una
company,
empresa
being a
digital, pero que
digital
creo
company,
que es más y más
I think that what is
necesario
more and more
en
necessary
empresas es
in
un
these
espíritu de
companies is to
colaboración
have
y
a
comunidad,
collaborative spirit and
porque sí
community.
noto que en la
Because I
medida
noticed that
que
in
hay
the way
muchas tareas, muchas cosas
there are
para
many
hacer, muchos
tasks to do,
objetivos, ¿no?
many goals to
Tenemos muchas
reach.
divisiones
We
dentro de
have
la
many
empresa,
divisions
muchos
within the
verticales, y es muy
company,
necesario como
and it is very
líder
necessary as a
yo
leader
poder
uh,
crear estas
for I
conexiones
to be able
entre
to
las
create these
personas de mis
connections
equipos,
among the people
¿no?
of
Que
my
comuniquen,
teams so that they
que colaboren,
communicate, so
que
that they can
intercambien ideas
collaborate,
y perspectivas,
interchange
porque
ideas
ese
and perspectives,
intercambio
because
dentro
this
de la empresa y
exchange of
obviamente
ideas
fuera
within the
con
company, and of course,
clientes, con
after with the
anunciantes, con
clients or
agencias,
sponsors,
con
agencies, companies,
desarrolladores de tecnología.
other
Ese intercambio es cada vez
developers,
más importante.
this
Estamos en un
exchange
mundo,
is even more
porque lo
important. We're in
vivimos
a
estos
world
años
in
aún
which,
más,
and
donde
during
el
this
digital
last past 2 years,
permite
in which
atravesar
the
fronteras,
digital thing
¿no?
uh,
Y nos permite
allows us
atravesar
to go through
barreras
barriers, through
de todo tipo.
frontiers of all
Entonces,
kinds.
ese tipo de
So
visión también,
this kind
esa
of
perspectiva
vision
lo
and
traigo
this
mucho
perspective,
a lo que
I
yo
always bring
hago y
this to what I do
como intento
and
liderar con mi
how I
equipo.
try to leader my team.
Comparto 100% y también
I
siento que
share
como
what you're
líderes
saying
al final estamos al
100%, and I
servicio
think that
de la
as
comunidad,
leaders,
de los
we're
clientes,
serving the community,
somos
the clients, and the
facilitadores del
teams.
éxito del
We're
trabajo.
facilitators of the success
Y ahí
in
lo voy
the
a conectar conectar
work of
con
our
una
teams.
pregunta
And I will
para nuestra
connect that
audiencia
with the
de hoy,
question
los
so that
jóvenes de toda la
our
región.
audience
¿Qué
now can
recomendación le darías a los
listen.
jóvenes que
What
están
recommendation can you
prontos
give
ya a
to the
lanzarse
youth
al mundo
who
y
are
sin
about
ninguna
to
duda
go into the world?
seguro que están admirando tu
And I think
carrera y
that
tu
they
historia de vida?
admire your career, your life story.
Mira, como habías hablado, yo creo que
Well, like you were
mi
saying,
carrera,
I think that my career,
mi camino nunca ha sido
my
una
path
línea
has
recta.
never been a straight
Y está
line,
bien, no
and
tiene
it's
por qué
fine. It
serlo.
does not need to
Nosotros
be like
muchas
that.
veces,
Sometimes
las personas te preguntan,
the people ask
¿qué
you,
haces? ¿Qué es lo que
what do
haces?
you
Como
do?
si el
Like,
qué nos define, ¿no?
if the
Y como si
what
hubiese solo
is going to
un
define
qué.
us, like if
Y
it
yo
was
pregunto
only
mucho
there
más
was only
el
one
cómo y el
what.
por qué.
And I always ask
Entonces,
the
si
how
no
and
es
the
el qué,
why.
si puedes
It
entender
is
el
not
por
the
qué
what,
lo haces,
but
si
if you
puedes
can
tener
understand the
el
why
coraje
and you have the
de
courage
saber
to
que, bueno,
know,
quizás
well,
no sé ahora,
maybe it is not
está okay, porque
now,
ese
it is
camino,
fine because that
te
path
felicito, ese camino va a ser
is
increíble,
going to be
¿no?
amazing.
Yo me acuerdo
I
cuando yo estaba
remember that when
en
I
la
was
universidad, muchas
at
personas sabían
college,
que
many
querían ser
people knew what they
abogados,
wanted to be. They wanted to be lawyers, they
médicos,
wanted to be doctors,
artistas,
they wanted to be artists,
profesores, increíble, o sea,
teachers.
vocaciones
Amazing.
increíbles.
Some
Ellos
amazing
tenían
careers.
esa
They had
vocación atados
these
en esos valores,
uh,
tenían el por qué,
values, they had the
pero para
why.
cada persona que
But for
iba a
each person
a estudiar
that was going to
abogacía,
study
había dos
to be a
más que
lawyer,
iban
there were two
porque
of them
no
that
habían
were
tomado el
going
tiempo
there
para
because they didn't
autoconocerse.
have the time
No
to know
tenían solo un
themselves.
qué y no un
They
por
only had a
qué.
what and not
Entonces,
a
si
why.
el camino no es un
So
camino recto
if
y
the
por
path
ahí
is
no
not
lo
a
sabes
straight
aún,
line, and
no te
maybe if you don't know,
preocupes.
don't worry.
Lo más
The
importante
most
es
important thing is that you can
ingresar en este camino y estar okay
enter into
que
this path
no
and
va a
to
ser
remain okay
ese
and,
camino recto
well,
primero.
know for sure that it is
Entonces,
not
en
going
eso
to
hay
be
que ser
straight. So you need
flexible.
to be
El segundo
flexible.
es que hay otras
The
cosas en las
second thing
cuales
is that
no
there are
necesitas
other
ser
things that
flexible.
don't
Y
need
esos
to
son
be
tus
flexible
valores
about, and those are your values
y lo que a ti te
and
importa
everything that you
realmente
care about.
en cómo quieres tratar a
How you
otros,
want to
tus
treat
perspectivas para el
others, the
mundo. En eso no
perspectives
hay
for
que ser
your world.
flexible. Tus
So in
valores son
those
muy
things, you do
importantes
not be
y cada
flexible.
vez
Values are
más
very important,
en cómo nos
and
manejamos en
the way in which
un mundo
we
corporativo que
uh,
está cambiando
relate in a
tan
corporative world that
rápido,
is
de forma
constantly
tan dinámica.
changing in
¿Sí?
this dynamic
Y
way. So,
finalmente,
and
abraza
finally,
la zona de
embrace
desconfort. Digo,
this
cuando yo estoy en mi zona de
uncomfort zone.
confort,
When I am in my
pregunto,
comfort zone,
¿qué estoy
I ask
haciendo? ¿Qué
myself, what am I
pasa? ¿Por qué
doing? What is
estoy
going
aquí?
on? Why am I
Porque
here?
estar en una zona
Because being in a
de
comfort
confort
zone
estableciendo, ¿no?
uh,
Y a eso voy mucho a lo que
means
llamamos
that
failure. Muchas veces
uh,
hablamos
maybe you're
me
failing,
preguntan,
because
em,
sometimes they
¿has
ask
fallado
me,
en tu
like,
carrera? ¿Has
have you ever
fallado en tu carrera?
failed in your career?
Típicamente
And
esperan como
typically they expect
una
a
historia sobre una gran
story
falla
about
que
a
mi empresa
huge
fue a
failure in my
bancarrota y no sé qué,
company,
que
when
bueno, hay muchas
bankruptcy and so
lecciones
on.
para
There
aprender
are
de
some
eso,
lessons to
pero
learn from that.
lo que yo he
But
aprendido es que en mi
what I have learned
camino, en
is
mi
in my
camino del
path
desconfort, del
of
por
the
qué,
uncomfort, of the
va a
why,
haber fallas en
there
todo
are going to be
momento,
failures
porque si yo
everywhere
supiera algo,
in
pues
any time.
estaría en
Because
mi
if
zona
I
de
knew
confort y
something,
mi
I would
camino
be in my
sería una
comfort
línea
zone.
recta,
My path
sería
would be a
totalmente
straight
lo
line. It would be
opuesto, ¿no?
completely the opposite
De lo que
from
realmente
what it
es
really
la esencia de esta
is,
construcción.
the
Así que
essence of this
fallas
construction.
van a haber
So
grandes,
failures
pequeñas,
are
en
going to be
todo
big,
momento
small, at
y
any time.
deberían haber
And there should
y
be,
son necesarias
and they're necessary
si vas a
if
realmente llegar a
you're
donde
really
uno quiere llegar.
going to be when you want, where
Muy
you want
bueno.
to be.
Recapitulando un poco,
Well,
entonces, la
I would
misión,
like
lo
to recap
primero,
the
el
mission. It would be
enfocarse
the
en el por
first,
qué,
then focusing
entender
on
que
the
van a haber
why,
múltiples caminos, no hay
understanding
uno
that we're
solo,
going
que
to
hay
have
que
many
reinventarse
paths,
y hay que estar
and then
preparados
to
para
reinvent
equivocarse,
ourselves, to
pero
be
siempre
prepared to
aferrándonos a
make
nuestros valores.
mistakes, but also not
Excelente,
letting go our
excelente
values.
resumen de
Amazing,
recomendaciones,
amazing
Maren. Ahora,
summary of
en 10
recommendations,
segundos,
Maria.
imagínate que te encontrás
Now
con
I
vos
want you to
misma,
think
con
and
Maren,
imagine
una
that
Maren de
you meet
16
yourself
años, con la
with a
trayectoria y
Maren
experiencia que
of
tenés hoy.
16
¿Qué le
years
dirías
old,
a
and
esa
with your
Maren
experience,
adolescente
what
de
would
hoy
you
día?
tell that teenage girl
Mira,
today?
le daría
daría
I
ese
would
consejo
give
que te
this
acabo de dar,
advice,
así
the
de
one that
grandes
I've
rasgos
just
de
told
resumen.
you. So thank you for that
Lo que
recap.
también diría
I
es lo
would also
siguiente. Yo creo
say the
que como
following.
una persona
As a person
eh, subrepresentada, cualquier persona aquí subrepresentada que esté
underrepresented
aquí en el
here
público escuchando,
in the
eh,
public, for example,
no tenga el miedo
do
de
not be
traer sus propias
afraid of
ideas.
bringing
¿Sí?
your own ideas to
Hay
the
una
table.
mujer
There's a
negra, Shirley
woman
Chisholm, que fue
who
la
is a black
primera
woman, who's
mujer
Shirley,
negra
who
elegida
was
al
the
Congreso de Estados
first
Unidos y
woman who
ella
was
tenía
elected to
una
the
vibra
America's
que
Congress.
es, si no te
She has
invitan,
a fight
trae
like,
tu propia
if
silla.
you were not
Y yo creo que
invited,
eso es
take your
muy
own chair.
importante.
That is
eso
very
diría
important.
a
And I would
mi ser de
tell,
16 años, de no tener el
I
miedo
would
de
say
decir
that
todo lo que estoy por
to
acá.
myself of 16
Hacerse
years.
lugar.
Don't
Muy
be
bueno, muy
afraid
bueno,
to
Marlene.
make room for yourself.
Ahora hablamos,
Oh,
hablamos de
amazing
pasado,
tips.
hablamos de presente. Te
We
invito
spoke
un
about the
segundo a
past, the
pensar en el
present,
futuro.
and
¿Quién
invite
mejor
yourself a
para
bit about talking
contarnos
about the
acerca del
future. Who
futuro
better
de
to
la
tell us
educación,
about
el
the
futuro
future
del
of education, the
trabajo
future of
en el
work
metaverso, ¿no?
in this metaverse
Este mundo que se nos
of
viene, del
the
cual
world that we
después
are
Meta está siendo
approaching,
pionera, está
in which
liderando
Meta is
este
pioneering and
mundo
leading
cambio
this
positivo. Contanos
positive
un
change.
poquito, ¿qué te
Tell us
imaginas?
a
¿Cómo te
bit,
imaginas el
how are
futuro de
you
educación y el
imagining the
trabajo en
future
el
of the
metaverso?
education in the world in the
Sí,
metaverse?
bueno, primero
Well,
hay que explicar un poco qué es
first
el
we need to
metaverso.
explain what the
Lo más
metaverse
importante es
is. The
saber que el
most
metaverso
important
no
thing is that
es
the metaverse
vivir
is
en un
not
headset, ¿no? De
living
realidad
in a
virtual.
headset,
El
really not
metaverso
a
es un
virtual life reality.
espacio,
The
es un
metaverse is a
set,
space, it's
digamos,
a set,
de espacios
uh,
interconectados, espacios
interconnected
tanto
spaces,
dos-dimensional como tres-dimensional,
two-dimensional and
tanto virtual
three-dimensional
como
spaces,
físico.
virtuals and
Entonces,
physical
es
spaces.
este híbrido
Is
de
this
estas
hybrid
dimensiones que acabo
of dimensions that I've just
y
said.
nada va a reemplazar
And nothing
nunca
is going to
el contacto físico,
replace
vivir en el
human
mundo
contact,
físico.
living in
Pero
the
el
physical world.
metaverso y
But
estos
the
espacios
metaverse and these
NFT van a
spaces
permitir que
are going to
sentimos
allow
una sensación
that
más
we feel this
inmersiva, una
feeling
experiencia
of
más inmersiva,
immersion, to have this
complementa y a
experience
veces
that complements
nos deja
and
hacer cosas que
sometimes
no
let
podríamos hacer
us
hoy, ¿no?
do
Imagínense
things that we were not
en
able to do now.
educación,
Imagine that in
tomando un
education,
curso en un
by
aula
taking a
en
course
otro
in a
lado del mundo,
class or
¿sí?
in another place
Donde
of the
uno
world,
está ahí
where you
sentado
are
en mi
there
casa y
sitting.
estoy
I can be
participando en
sat
un
in my
aula con
house and I can be in a
con
room with
compañeros
people
de
and
distintos países,
partners from different parts of the
donde
country.
el profesor por ahí habla un
And maybe the
idioma
teacher
y yo
speaks a
hablo
language and
mis
maybe I
colegas
speak
hablan de
another,
sus
and my
países,
colleagues
podemos
speak
estar
about their
hablando de 20
countries. For
idiomas
example, we
diferentes
can
porque va a
speak
haber una
about
traducción
20
simultánea de este
languages different,
metaverso,
and we are going to
donde
have a
todos podemos
simultaneous
colaborar,
translation in this metaverse in which
todos,
we can
todos podemos
collaborate, in
tener
which we
acceso.
can
Yo creo
have
que el
access
poder de
to that. And I think
colaboración
that
y
this
de
collaborative
acceso
power and
en la
this
educación
access
son dos
of education
características
are two
fundamentales
main
para todos
characteristics
nosotros,
for
por el
all of
progreso
us,
de nuestras
for the
sociedades, de
progress
nuestras
of the
economías
societies
y
and our
la
economies.
mucha
And
esperanza
I feel
pensar
very
en que estos
hopeful
impactos
to
pueden
think about these
transformar
impacts
la
that can
manera en que
transform
nos
the way
educamos
in
y
which
ni
we are
hablar de cómo
educated.
después aplicamos
Don't
esto
even talk about this,
al
how
mundo
do we
laboral.
apply this to the work
Hago un paralelo con
world.
cómo estudié yo
Any
y la verdad que
parallel
es una
about how
gran
I
diferencia.
studied? And
La
yes, it
base del
is
libro
a
de texto,
huge difference.
la mayor
We have
experiencia era paso de
textbooks,
frente, escribir en
and
la
we had
pizarra,
to
mientras
go
que acá
into
estamos
the
hablando de un
blackboard,
futuro
and now
que es
we're
muy
talking
presente,
about
pero también un futuro en el cual
a
vamos a
present, but
poder
also a future that we
vivir,
can
sentir esto en forma
live and
experiencial.
feel
Eso,
this as an
la verdad que
experiment.
se me pone la piel de gallina de la
I am
emoción
thrilled
y de
to
saber
think about
que mis
this,
hijos
to
y
know that my kids,
los
and
jóvenes que están
of
acá
course,
y nuestra,
all the young
la
people
generación
that
que
are
siguen
here and all
van
the
a poder,
generations
van a
that
poder ser
follow us
parte
can
de
be
todo esto.
able of this,
Manen,
can be
bueno,
part
voy a cerrar
of this.
agradeciéndote de parte de
Marlena,
toda
I'm
la
going to
organización,
thank you from
de
part of
parte de
all the
Junior Achievement,
organization,
de
from the
parte de
part
todos
of
nuestros
junior
voluntarios en el
achievement,
mundo,
of
de
all
parte
our
de
volunteers in the
las
world, and from the
decenas
part
de
of
jóvenes que
the
estuvimos conectados
thousands
hoy.
of
Gracias
youngsters
por
that we
compartir
have
tu
there.
historia,
Thanks
súper
for sharing your
inspiradora,
story,
súper
very
enriquecedora y
inspirational,
me lleno de
very
orgullo
enriching.
saber que vos
I am
también sos
very
parte de
proud
Junior Achievement
also
y
to know
de
that
este
you're
grupo
part of your
hace lo
achievement from
posible
this team that it
primer
is
NAU
making
Fest histórico. Muchas
possible
gracias.
this very historical NAU
Gracias a
Fest.
ti,
Thanks a
gracias
lot,
a
Maren.
Junior Achievement.
Thanks to Junior
Es un
Achievement and to
privilegio
you.
formar
It's a
parte de esto.
privilege to be here.
Y gracias a todos los jóvenes por
And
participar.
thanks to all
Iliana,
the young
nos
people
vemos
for
contigo.
participating here. Ileana?
Muchísimas gracias.
Whoa, thanks a lot. What a great talk.
Sí,
The
todo lo que
metaverse,
haces,
yes, and
gracias a
everything that goes through, the possibilities we have. Now we're able to
poder estar
connect
en
and
muchos
to be
lugares
able
a la
in
vez,
many places at
estando
the same time and
en,
being
en
here
otro país.
in
Esto es
another country.
espectacular.
Like,
Esto
it's
es
amazing.
el
It's
NAU Fest. Muchas gracias, de
the
verdad.
NAU Fest. This is. Thanks a lot for these changes that we are starting, all the changes that we are experimenting, and it's going to make a better and a before and after in your lives. Thanks for sharing everything through your social networks with the hashtag NAU Fest. And well, we have been through this NAU Fest. We have to finish today, but it doesn't finish yet because we're going to have a surprise day. Yes, we're going to have a surprise day to still have this contact. So pass the voice, spread the word, because I'm going to tell you that after we watch this following video, what it's going to be about, what day it's going to be, and we spoke about the importance of being uh, to have these communications, this teamwork, to be kind. So we want to recognize all these people that have worked throughout this time, months, years, with the only goal so that you are able to get inspired, learn, take the tools for your future. And these are the staff and the volunteers of this first edition of the NAU Fest. So let's clap, let's a big round of applause for all of them. Thanks a lot. And let's watch this following video. Wow. Bien.
Esto es el NAU Fest. Muchas
Esto es el
gracias,
NAU
Leo.
Fest.
Gracias,
Thanks a lot,
Hernán.
Leo,
Mi querida
Hernán,
Pau. Gracias, Marta,
Pao,
Tony.
Marta,
Señor productor, gracias.
Tony,
Y por
the
supuesto a cada
producer,
uno de los
and thanks
jóvenes de
to
todos
all
los
of
países, de
you
miles de
who have
jóvenes que
came
están
from different
sumándose
parts
cada
of the
vez más
world,
con
joining
nosotros en
us
JJ Americas. Y gracias a ti, a
with
todos los que han
JJ
trabajado
America.
durante
So thank
meses para
you and
hacer
all the
esto
people that have
posible,
worked
tanto
here
en
throughout
diseño, en
months to make this
convocatoria, en
possible,
planeación. Muchas
design,
gracias. Y también a
everything.
ustedes, los
And
jóvenes
thank
que
you, the
participaron
young
para
people
darnos
that took
nuevas
part
ideas, para
to
la
give us new
renovación también de la
ideas,
imagen. Muchas,
to
muchas
renew our
gracias.
image. Thanks a lot. And well, you inspire ourselves, so we love to see you succeed. And with this, we finish our day of the Now Fest, our main day. Thanks a lot to our sponsors again. Thanks to our ambassadors, our speakers of today and from all the previous days. And thanks to you. To you, yes. Thanks to you for being here, to invest your time, to grow, and to have a better future. Remember that Now Fest has a special surprise so that you can spread the word. The 21st of June, the expo, the future of job. It's the 21st of June. We have an expo, which is going to be thrilled by that Arcos Dorados in Latin America. Thanks. My name is Elena Jimenez, and we're going to expand all these messages to make things happen and to enjoy this life because we're still here and we need to squeeze it. We need to do it better. It's an honor, JJ Americas. Thanks a lot for the trust. See you later. This was the edition 2022. See you next year, which is going to be the second edition of the Now Fest. My name is Ileana Jimenez. Bye. Bye, Now Fest.